going to happen tomorrow with the people over the years, the last 31 years of the families I've served. I've put some of the money aside where they can't lose that money ever and would have a lifetime income.
Holistic retirement planning. See what it can look like for you. 888-456-7577, 888-456-7577, or text ZONE to 600-700.
Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized, hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
HIV is not a crime, or it shouldn't be.
It's time for the laws to catch up to science.
Join the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation to modernize outdated HIV criminalization laws. Go to etaf.org. Campaign funded through the support of Gilead Sciences Incorporated.
I had been taking probably 800 milligrams of opioids a day, which is an insane amount.
David is in recovery from an addiction to prescription opioids.
Eventually, my whole life began to unravel. I realized that I needed help. And in recovery, I found my purpose. Addiction is a disease of isolation and loneliness. There is a way out. You don't have to do this alone.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is hope. Recovery is possible. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Rain on and off for the rest of the afternoon, some of it heavy at times. We have a flood watch in effect, so today is a WRAL weather alert day. With the rain and clouds, it's cooler with a high of just 77 degrees. 68 overnight. We'll see some evening showers and then a bit of a break, but some more showers on and off tomorrow with a high of 80 degrees.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 558 points today to 51,659.
Deep left corner of the end zone! Jalen Coker hauls it in for a touchdown!
Off the back iron!
Wilson comes soaring in to dunk it home!
Copeland jabs on him a couple of times. Step back three-pointer, left corner, swish.
One dribble out for Boozer for 3! Big time! And the Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL! They won the 2026 Stanley Cup!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, once again producing the show for today. Max Gorin. I wish I could say we have good news to start the show, but it's a bit of a bummer. And you'll find out what that means as soon as we get through the intro. Again, this is 99.9 The Fan. This is The Drive. And we start the show every single day with the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
To make you wait just a few more seconds, the Big 3 at 3 is presented by Maynor Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. MaynorServices.com. That's MAYNOR services.com. Hold on, everybody. This is going to sound weird. I'm going to try to move my mic a little bit. That didn't work. Just trying to get it out of the way for YouTube from the logo, but I just got manhandled by a mic stand. Not a good day all around so far. Carolina Panthers opened up training camp practice today. They are on the field practicing earlier today. This should be a holiday. I used to say the smell of fresh cut grass. Now it's like the smell of freshly raked little rubber pellets in turf. And there's this buzz around the Carolina Panthers. They made the playoffs last year. They stared the Rams in the face last year. And you're looking for reasons that they could be better. And earlier this offseason, ESPN put together this big old article. I don't know how many words. It was a bunch of them. And they picked a breakout player from each team. For the Carolina Panthers, they could have chosen, I don't know, Tedero McMillan, the offensive rookie of the year. Maybe they thought he'd break out and be an all-pro. Could have chosen Jalen Coker, who had a billion yards in the playoff game. Said, he's going to go for 1,000. Could have picked so many. Could have picked one of their rookies. But instead, they picked Nic Scourton. Second-round draft pick from not this most recent draft, last year, had 5 sacks as a rookie. He's one of the youngest players in his draft class, and they pick him as the breakout. So, day 1, practice 1, morning 1, you gather around and you maybe go, all right, let me see what's happening with this breakout player. Let me search Nic Scourton. You would have been greeted by the news that the team was solemnly gathering around him as he was injured on practice 1, morning 1 of training camp. And they took a knee. They gathered around him. There were hugs given before he was carted off with a lower body injury. Hot start for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, that's right in the breakout player. It's right in the stomach. It's a gut punch. Now I can give you slightly more details. He was down. Cart was out. He did ride in the front of the cart. He was not like immobilized or anything like that. He didn't have to get hoisted into the back of the cart. But the severity, at least by the beat reporters that were in attendance, was measured by the reaction of the fellow team. Right, they appeared very dejected by his appearance. He's going to have an MRI this afternoon, and we have not heard the results. He's going to have an MRI this afternoon to determine the severity. Dave Canales would not speculate on how serious it is, but I do believe he confirmed it was a right knee. This is potentially a very, very big blow to the Carolina Panthers. At a time when there's not a lot of options. You can go like super veteran off the free agency pile, but if this happens at the beginning of the offseason, if it happens at for example, Ike Ekwonu got hurt at the end of the regular season last year, which is a bummer. He was a building, up-and-coming trench player for them, similar to Nic Scourton on the defensive side. And because it happened with time to fix it, they can go sign in free agency Rasheed Walker, draft Monroe Freeling, and they can be more situated for it. This is a tough one. Day 1, practice 1. Most teams haven't even stepped foot cleats to turf yet. Feel bad for the player as well. There's nothing like working all offseason and going through all the terrible workouts only to get out there and, all right, fellas, we finally get to play. There it goes. Hopefully it was a scare. Hopefully, when we played, we used to always go, maybe it's scar tissue, because sometimes like tearing scar tissue from a previous injury could feel like something was ripping or tearing or something. I felt it rip, and you'd be like, maybe it's just scar tissue. That was like your last gasp hope, so maybe it's just a little scar tissue. Nic Scourton, though, carted off. That's number 1. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
Patrick Kane back with the Blackhawks. I feel like we have to report on every single NHL signing or piece of news until it's Alexander Nikishin. It's just like, hey, things are happening. Just because they're not happening for the Carolina Hurricanes doesn't mean they're not happening. Back to the Blackhawks he goes. 2-year contract, average annual value of $8 million. He is 37 years old. This seems like a bit of paying for the relationship you have. Seems like a little bit of, hey, remember the good times? Remember when we won all those cups and you were here? Why don't we come back and maybe role play some of that, put the jersey back on, let everybody be excited about it? Max Gorin, producing the show, overpay, correct? He's nodding.
Yeah.
There you go.
$8 million. But it's weird for me for Chicago because, like, I understand, like, it's the same with Bo and Byram. Like, they're bringing in finally some, like, real NHL level talent to the roster, which is good because they've been kind of toiling away and not been close. But at the same time, when you cap strap yourself like this by overpaying for whatever additions you get, that's going to hurt you down the line when you try to fully flesh out your roster and really start competing. So I don't know. It makes sense and doesn't make sense at the same time because I don't know what direction they're looking for by doing this. Are you trying to stay bad and get another high draft pick, or are you trying to raise your level and finally get some forward help for Connor Bedard and make that unit into something? Because they have some good young talent there, but I just don't know if this means, okay, we're trying to make the next step, or it's like, okay, like he's here to be a leader for these young guys while we keep developing and like acquiring. We get another high draft pick next year, and then maybe we try to go for it next year or the year after.
My first reaction was the best way to hide a tank is behind, usually I say a retirement tour, but I guess a reunion tour could work as well. Whereas, like, if you're really, really bad, but you don't want your team booed off the field, just have like an all-time legend retiring and make sure they're the last one to walk off. And if they're waving to the fans on their way out and fans believe it's like the last time they're ever going to get to see them, they won't be mad and they won't even notice that you tanked for a high pick. But it did seem like Chicago maybe was going to go for it. So maybe this is the Bedard's injury change things. I don't know. But it's a strange one. Relationships are funny in the NHL. That's number 2. Let's go ahead and jump to number 3.
Number 3.
How about it, everybody? Bank of America will remain Bank of America Stadium for the foreseeable future. They agreed to an extension up there in Charlotte for the naming rights with Bank of America. There's also one of my favorite things in the world. Stadium renderings. Oh, yeah. We're talking stadium renderings. The new look to Bank of America Stadium, they're not getting a new stadium. The new look will cost about $1.3 billion when you include the surrounding entertainment area. And then they again, once you put out renderings, you kind of have to at least pretend like you know how you're going to pay for it. David Tepper, owner of the Panthers, is reportedly kicking in an additional $500 million towards the renovation and related projects, which will include a fairly substantial indoor music venue, 4,400 people, 4,400 seats. That will bring his total to $650 million. And he also reportedly has committed to covering all overages and ongoing maintenance, which is very nice to know. And for anyone that's ever built anything of any kind, you get the estimate and then you just start banking overages immediately. Here are the highlights for me. The social patio on the 500 level, length of the one end zone in the upper bowl. The larger and more dynamic scoreboards. And other fan gathering areas inside and outside the stadium. And also, it's notable for what's not going to be there, Panther fans. No coverings, no roof, no retractable roof, no awnings over the fans. If they're in the rain, they're in the rain. I tend to like this because I think football should be played in the elements, especially if you are not in a super, super north market where, like, if there's 6 feet of snow on the ground, like, that's not even football. But I'll also say this. It might not be the best business decision, which I kind of like. Because you throw the roof over the top and all of a sudden, like, concerts can't get rained out. Like, everything becomes a more multi-purpose venue. And as we're seeing across the country, that tends to be where a lot of the money is for these. And the fact that David Tepper is not necessarily forcing it to be the best business decision, I like that because traditionally it appears as if he only makes decisions for business reasons. So maybe this one's for, like, atmosphere and enjoyment, for football staying what football should be. He's a Pittsburgh guy. That's where he's from. That's where he got his schooling and everything. Maybe he just recognizes in the elements is where football should be played. And even if it means there's a few less Shakira concerts in the offseason, he's going to make it work. So I'm all right with that. Joe Bruno, WSOC, included a cool detail. The team made sure that new seats will still make noise when they are banged by fans. Because I guess certain venues across the country haven't done that. And on third downs and things, fans are going to smack the seats and they're like too well oiled or something. They're too padded and it doesn't make any noise. That'd be a real bummer, right? Everybody get loud. Nothing happens. So I don't know. They should put like a cymbal there or something. Not only make it so they make noise, get some real noisemakers in there. Let the people go crazy. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big Three at 3, presented by Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Check them out online, MaynorServices.com. MAYNOR Services.com. When we come back, Panthers. They opened up practice today. May have already lost a contributor. It's the biggest story for the Carolina Panthers. I'll tell you next.
Yeah. Can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
Myth: everyone's drinking. Fact: more students are choosing not to drink alcohol than people realize. And it might not always feel that way, but a lot of students are making choices to stay focused, stay safe, and stay in control. And that takes confidence, because leadership is about knowing your limits and being okay standing by them. Real friends respect that, back each other up, and look out for one another. Make a plan, trust your choice, and don't be afraid to speak up. Talk it out NC, because not everyone's drinking and it's okay to choose differently.
Learn more at talkitoutnc.org.
Hey man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. They got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road. Open 7 days a week.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There's been a lot of stories, much more than you'd want. There's been a lot of stories out of Carolina Panthers training camp already. One practice, singular. One practice in the books in the last 48 hours. There's the potential for them losing 2 of their, I don't know, depending where you want to put them, 7 to 10 most irreplaceable players on the team. With Taylor Moton potentially out with the non-football illness. He has the blood clotting issue. And then today on the practice field, Nic Scourton, their young, emphasis young, edge rusher, got carted off the field. There's a ton of stories. And we could go on and on with some stories. How about this one? Jonathan Brooks looks just like Dave Canales remembered him. That's a positive one. You thought I was only going to say negatives. It's a positive one. Tedero McMillan, who missed most of spring with a foot injury. He was out there practicing, looking strong. But what's the biggest story? I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Okay, I don't want. There's a lot of stories. If we were doing cons and cons, right? Most confident, most concerned. You can have a lot of confidences. You can have a lot of concerns, but you got to pick your number one. You got to pick the most. The biggest story is and will be for the foreseeable future, with no changes, Bryce Young. Nic Scourton got carted off. What was the biggest story of today's practice? Bryce Young. Taylor Moton might not be ready at the beginning of the season. What's the biggest story at the beginning of the season? Bryce Young. Jalen Coker got paid. Tedero McMillan, offensive return rookie of the year. They're both coming back to lead a passing offense. What's the biggest story of the passing offense? Bryce Young. And we can't get just exhausted by it and tired of it that we don't address how important that is. If you go right now to ESPN, they have the biggest story of – actually, I can read the exact deal for you. They have an article out called 2026 NFL Training Camp Previews, Projections for all 32 teams. And at the top of each team's preview, they list the biggest storyline. Biggest storyline, : does Bryce Young play himself into a new contract this season? This is a pivotal season for the Panthers' fourth-year quarterback. If you were to go to The Ringer, that's Bill Simmons' site. They have the biggest question for every NFL team as training camp begins. Their question for the Panthers, what's next for Bryce Young? And we could go to CBS, we could go to Fox, we could go to whatever, we go to Sporting News, we go to whoever you want to go to. The biggest story for the Carolina Panthers should be Bryce Young. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. Because guess what? If Bryce Young ain't it, doesn't matter if your second edge rusher opposite of Jalen Phillips gets 7 sacks or 9. If Bryce Young isn't it, does it matter if Jalen Coker is an above average wide receiver number 2? If Bryce Young ain't it, does it matter that Jonathan Brooks looks healthy if the defenses don't have to respect the passing arm of the quarterback at all? No, it doesn't. None of it matters. Quarterback is the most pass-fail decision for a team in the entire sports world. It's why when you're trading for a quarterback and people get to haggling about should I give up another first? It's like, you don't understand. It is either worth it at 5 first-round picks for a trade, or it is not worth it at a third-rounder by themselves. Quarterbacks are pass-fail. You either have your franchise guy who's going to be your guy for the next 12 years, or you don't. And if you don't, it's not like, well, at least we only gave up a certain amount of picks. It's not that way. I will add a caveat here. The caveat would be if you have the 2000 Ravens defense. Then, sure, quarterback doesn't matter. If you have Ray Lewis and that crew, go ahead. If you're going to give up 13 points in an entire postseason, yeah, you'll be all right. The Panthers don't have that. Nobody in the NFL does this year, by the way. Those come around once in a generation. So today, tomorrow, the next day, is Bryce Young going to be ready for week 1? It is going to be, can we stop grading Bryce Young on the curve of his circumstance? It is, can we stop the qualifiers for Bryce? When do they end? Right? If we all acknowledge that he wasn't in the best situation with a play caller switch, and we all acknowledge he wasn't in the best situation with maybe dynamic young ability around him, whatever you want to say, if we're all acknowledging that for whatever years you want to give him the excuses, this year it better work. And everything else falls off of that. Everything else branches off of that. So the irony is everybody's excited about everything else, right? Because we've talked about Bryce ad nauseum for now coming up on 4 years. So it's like everybody's just tired of it. But the irony is, if you post a video from training camp, any of you beat reporters, you post a video from training camp of Tedero McMillan, he looks strong. I'm looking for the ball placement on the pass. I know Tedero McMillan's good. And I know that no matter how good he is, he needs the quarterback to get him the ball. Xavier Legette, why is he wearing the one leg sleeve? And does he look strong? Does he look fast? Does he look like he's worked on his hands? I'm going like, well, that ball made him bend down. I don't like that. Oh, it's Kenny Pickett. Never mind. Like, that's how I'm watching. Nic Scourton got hurt. That's a bummer. I'm not going to downplay that. That absolutely stinks. Did he get hurt chasing Bryce Young because he didn't get rid of the ball fast enough? Like, everything gets back to Bryce. Everything falls back to the quarterback. It's the nature of the sport. And we probably should have done a better job of it. I should have done a better job of it, making sure that every conversation we've talked about for the Carolina Panthers up until this point ended there. Because, like, I'm not saying you don't have the other conversations. It's the most important story. It's not the only story. You still have the other conversations, but it should always end with that being said, that individual player's performance at best is a distant second in importance. Jonathan Brooks, I think he's a fascinating story. Hasn't really played football since college, and he's going into year 3. He's coming off 2 injuries. I read a whole manifesto online. I don't even know how much realism is there, so just take it with not a grain of salt, but a handful of salt. That his second injury wasn't even a real injury. It was a lack of fixing the problem on the first injury. And I was believing it by the end of the thread. I think it's a fascinating story if he can come back and actually be the player that was promised. But it does not matter if he has great advanced analytics from the running back position if Bryce Young is not getting it done at quarterback. And vice versa. Chuba Hubbard is more than good enough if Bryce Young takes a gigantic step forward to being a well above average quarterback. Chuba Hubbard can keep a defense honest. Everybody on that team would have an easier job if Bryce Young takes a gigantic step forward, and they wouldn't even actually have to take a gigantic step forward. Like, they wouldn't have to do it themselves. Their circumstance would make it appear as if they took that huge step. And you know what you're doing when you sign up to be a quarterback. Bryce Young knows exactly what he's doing. You don't become a quarterback because you're like, I like to be the little wallflower and I don't want all the pressure on me. You become a quarterback because you want to have the ball in your hands every single play. The only people more crazy for pressure than quarterbacks are kickers because they just stand around all day than have the whole game on their shoulders. At least quarterbacks get into a rhythm. Kickers are just like 170-pound flexible guys that are occasionally like, I'll take all the pressure. Different beast. Bryce Young, the biggest story of the Carolina Panthers. And by all reports today, looked good enough. But you wouldn't hear much because everyone's distracted by all these secondary stories that are going on. But the ones that did notice Bryce, good enough. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will continue here on 99.9 with the Dean's List. We take a look around the college sports world and point out some people that deserve some extra praise. Coming up next, stick around.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Because you guys do everything for the exterior of your home, these things can add up. And there are a lot of people who think, I can't afford this. How can the Aluminum Company make it easier?
Yeah, well, Adam, we have plans that are 12 months, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 12 months, which make it super affordable for people to do anything on their home, whether it's windows, siding, doors, roofing, gutters, any kind of exterior home improvement. The Aluminum Company has financing plans that can fit in your budget and make it easy.
So wait a second. I can get everything done, no interest, and no payments for 12 months?
Yeah, and you get a lifetime warranty once the project's done.
I get a lifetime warranty once the project is done?
Yes, sir.
What about my down payment?
No down payment, no
What?
deposit.
No down payment, no deposit.
No payment until the project's done.
No payment till the project's done.
Exactly.
Where do I sign up? Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I left the pizza box on top of my car before driving home. Not smart. Oh, and a semi just turned my deep dish into a thin crust.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
This hour of The Drive is brought to you by All-Star Dog Training. You've seen their dogs featured in college and professional sports. They can train your dog too. Visit allstardogtraining.com and schedule your free evaluation today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As I often remind you about this time, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Continuing to grow the community there. And with football season underway, you're going to want to be there for the debates, the arguments. It's part of the best part about being a sports fan. You get to dive in the deep end. Defend your territory. By the way, we did bring up Bryce Young for about 10 minutes, so the discourse, I guarantee you, is already choppy waters. So 99.9 The Fan on YouTube is the channel. Subscribe while you're there. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love your input, and we'd love for you to tell at least 3 of your friends to also subscribe as we continue building that follower count, subscriber count, and growing that community. So again, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Also download the 99.9 The Fan app, Google Play, App Store, completely free to you. Just download it, keep it right there in your phone, and throw us a 5-star rating. That's the least you can do for us cranking out all this content for you. Now, here on The Drive, let's get to the Dean's List. All right, now, Max, maybe you can help me with this first one. Is it Jorge or George Sands? Are you aware of this?
For who?
I believe he's a new head coach. Goodness, new coach for UNC basketball, coming over from Gonzaga. Former Gonzaga assistant, we'll say George, but it's spelled Jorge. Sands will join Michael Malone's staff at North Carolina, per House of Kraus, which is a Gonzaga basketball newsletter. And it's since been picked up a bunch of different places. And he, from his official account, thanked Zag Nation, which is obviously Gonzaga. They just continue adding pretty darn respected in the college basketball world assistants and coaches to that UNC staff, which I think is a very good move by Michael Malone. Potentially looking across campus and learning, because UNC football hired a coach with a ton of professional experience, maybe the most pro football experience in the history of pro football, and he hired a ton of pro assistants with a ton of pro experience to come be his college assistant coaches for his first year, meaning Belichick, and it didn't work great, right? And I almost looked at him at the time and said, I think if anyone's impressed by experience in the NFL, you got it. You've won, right? You don't need to continue adding. You've won that one. Maybe bring in some college experience.
It is Jorge Sands.
Jorge Sands. There you go. Sorry for the mispronunciation earlier. News broke this afternoon. But Michael Malone looked around and said, you know what? If somebody's impressed by NBA accolades, I'll bring out my NBA championship ring as a head coach. I need some help in the college basketball world, and he's hiring guys from all over college basketball or retaining guys that know Carolina basketball, the Sean Mays, those types. So I think it's a good move. I think it's another name you want to take note of if you're a UNC basketball fan, and then you just need the money to bring in the right players for him. Huh? There you go. More Dean's List here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. How about Audrey Erickson, NC State women's basketball player? I believe she's a transfer from the Boston University Terriers. They released just the most, there are a few videos that I am just an absolute sucker for online. One of them the putting a player on scholarship and they don't know it in front of the team, those videos. Coach usually does it in a really cheesy, surprising way. They did the whole cheesy, surprising way. But then they go like, never mind, you're on scholarship, and the whole team goes crazy. I started my career as a walk-on, eventually earned a scholarship. I know exactly where I was, what I was doing when Coach gave me the scholarship. Wasn't a big production, but still, those memories come flooding back. So, Audrey Erickson, congratulations. It's always sweeter when you earn it. Show up on campus, earn your keep. That's what I always say. And those videos, keep them coming. The other ones, by the way, that I'm a sucker for, kids being surprised by their military parents coming home after deployment. You give me a montage of those on YouTube, I'm a puddle. And then also, and I don't know why this one pops up on my feed occasionally, kids with hearing difficulties when the doctors are able to like turn on their hearing and they hear their parents' voices for the first time and they get all excited. Walk-ons getting scholarships, military returns, hearing being turned on. I'll sit there for hours. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dean's List. Max, do you have somebody on the Dean's List?
I don't.
Oh, look at that. We've run you dry. This is not exactly, because we always say the Dean's List is those in and indirectly related to the college sports world that we hold so near and dear here in the Triangle. I'm putting Panthers rookie cornerback Will Lee. Not because of what he's doing with the Panthers, and he had his first pro practice today, but because of a story from his college days that came across my desk today. He's a cornerback from Texas A&M. Reportedly, a nickname, and it's a good nickname for a corner to have, defensive back, is Blanket, because he covers. Yeah, get it? Nickname is Blanket. So I believe he was going up against Missouri. There was a wide receiver, Theo Weiss, on Missouri, apparently known for being a good receiver. So what did rookie Will Lee of the Panthers do ahead of his game against Theo Weiss in Missouri when they were both in college? He had a blanket delivered to the hotel room of Theo Weiss with a note that said, "Get used to this blanket, it's real tomorrow." I love that for a corner. Love that for a cornerback. Now, you could say it ended with mixed results. He did give up 2 catches, including a 59-yard touchdown to Theo Weiss in the game. With not great, but also had, I believe it was 3 pass breakups and won the game 41-10. But I'm going to say this. I don't care about the outcome. Corners are required to be irrationally arrogant because you have to be out there thinking, like, it's the amnesia thing, right? Oh, did you just score on me? You're never going to score on me again. It's how every corner has to think. If my corners weren't annoyingly arrogant, I would look at my defensive backs coach and go, we're recruiting the wrong kids. You need stupid arrogance in the defensive backfield. So sending a blanket to a college guy that you're going to cover with a note, pretty darn perfect. That's how you make the team. Or that's how you don't make the team. But I know you don't make the team if you don't have that kind of confidence. So the blanket, Will Lee. Will the Blanket Lee. I don't know how nicknames work. From Texas A&M, you make the Dean's List. And then lastly, here on the Dean's List, and Max, I want to get your opinion on this one. I'm putting I believe it's pronounced Nanea Cup. The LPGA, that's the Women's Professional Golf Tour. LPGA, earlier this week, unveiled the inaugural Nanea Cup, an event being held in Hawaii next March. It includes, this is where it gets crazy, a mix of pro golfers and collegiate golfers as a way to showcase the present and future of women's golf. The Nanea Cup, which will be on the Big Island, features a $4 million purse. $4 million used to be like a PGA Tour regular stop. $4 million purse. The field will include 95 LPGA Tour players, the pros, with the 25 best college golfers, or not the 25 best, with 25 of the nation's best college golfers, representing 5 universities: Stanford, Texas, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and UCLA. we're getting closer and closer to just having individual exhibition events where pros and colleges can mix. Instead of the NBA Cup, why don't we get 2 pros joining college teams, play a little Champions Classic? You get 2 alumni to come back for a mid-season 8-team tournament. Put a bunch of money on the line, bunch of pride. What about the biggest debate that happens every year, right? There's an NFL team that's going to go 0-17, and there's a wagon of like a random Big Ten or SEC school, and everybody goes, that team, they'd beat the Lions. Right? It was always the Lions. Now I guess it'd be someone else. What if they're like, deal? Put some NIL up. Let's go play. If the college golfers can mix pro and amateur, if they can mix pro and college, we can mix pro and college. Let's go. NFL team would probably play on a Wednesday when they have a Sunday game because they're like, we're not even going to be sore after. This will just be a warm-up. How much you want to put up? No, actually, I think it's cool. I don't know if you need this kind of stuff for football, men's basketball, the sports that are uber popular. Although, adapt or die, if there's a way you can incorporate something cool, think about it. But for sports like golf, women's golf, other Olympic sports, I don't think it's a bad move at all. I think it's anything you can do to raise the profile of your game, anything you can do to raise the eyeballs on your sport, that's fantastic. And don't get it twisted. Stanford, Texas, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and UCLA, they're good. Some of them the best golf schools. They're also just rich schools that want to keep making money and they want to keep building up their NIL funds and they want to keep funding things. Men's golf, make it happen. The Nanea Cup. And it's another reason they're kind of doing away with the Hawaii swing. It's another way that we all get to watch some cool golf from the islands. It already happens in other sports, right? Like you see the U.S. trials. If you're the best, triple jumper and you happen to be in college, you just go up against the pros. Now you get to see it in golf too. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of being creative in ways to make your team, your college specifically, a little bit of cash, some numbers came out on how some of the college teams we cover, college sports we cover, NC State, Carolina, how they are operating as businesses. And, depending on your fandom, you're either going to be stoked or very unhappy on the report I'm going to read for you after this, right here on 99.9 The Fan. But before we can do any of that, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. Heating systems, cooling systems, plumbing, electric. Heck, I mean, the way it's been raining around here today and in the last few weeks, maybe even if you want to have your windows open, you just can't because the rain's coming in sideways, which means your cooling system better be working because you're going to lock everything up tight. And if your cooling system's not working, you need to call Maynard Service Company. Same is true if you're having plumbing issues. If leaks are popping up and you think it's coming from the plumbing, call Maynard Service Company. Any electrical work, get on it right away. Obviously not right now on the calendar, but eventually if your heating system's not working, you don't want to deal with that issue. Call Maynard Service Company. Basically everything that deals with your heating, cooling, plumbing, or electric, it ends with call Maynard Service Company. The phone number, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or you can visit them online at MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. Again, a report on some business practices of the sports we care about. Stick around.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's Bo time.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons from Chapel Hill Tire. Your life is busy. Between work, family, and everything else on your calendar, finding time for car care isn't always easy. That's why I'm excited to share that our University Place and Crabtree locations are open Saturdays from 8 to 5. Whether you need tires, maintenance, or repairs, you'll now have more flexibility to take care of your car when it works best for you. It's just one more way we're working to make automotive service a little easier. Schedule your Saturday appointment at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I will commit to you. This is a promise. This is a pledge that at least a few times an hour during commercial breaks, I will search on Twitter for Nic Scourton's name and see if any of the results of an MRI that we are expecting him to take this afternoon are made public. I did that during the commercial break, and I have not heard anything. We'll keep our feelers out there for the beat writers that are up in Charlotte and see if we can learn anything. But all we know right now is he was carted off, second-year edge rusher for the Carolina Panthers. He was carted off first practice, day one, with a right knee injury, and an MRI was expected this afternoon, but that's all we know. So, again, the only pledge I can do is as soon as we know, you'll know. Nobody tell me anything off the record because now I've pledged it. If I know it, I have to go public with it. Everything's on the record. I don't break pledges. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. While that we're waiting on, we'll play some audio from Dave Canales and everything else coming up later in the show. There was a report that was made public earlier this week on licensing, okay? And licensing, when it comes to college sports, is brand licensing, okay? Royalties, advertisements, corporate sponsorships, and licensing are often grouped together. It was Matt Brown of Extra Points that did the gathering of the information. It was Brian Murphy, our colleague over at WRAL, who broke it down to the teams we care about. I do want to be very, very brief in giving a qualifier, which is every business keeps their books a little differently, right? There's different pots of money, different pots of expenditures, and you know what one team might classify as licensing, another might classify as ticket sales. I don't know. So give or take a little bit here. But when you see these stark differences in the numbers, it would take like a monumental difference in how you see the way a business works to have the numbers be as different as we're about to say them. But I'm opening the door to some of the reasoning being, that we just call it something else. We don't call that licensing. We call it selling of rights or something. I don't know. Two schools I'm going to focus on. One, Carolina, meaning Tar Heels. The other, NC State, meaning Wolfpack. The numbers come up to as recent as the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Royalties, licensing, advertisements, and corporate sponsorships, Carolina brought in the 2024-2025 year, $23.9 million. Seems like a lot, right? But without having any kind of benchmark, you have no idea if it's good, right? Well, how many do most schools make? How much do most schools make? Is that normal? Is that above average? Are we big chip stacks at the table? Are we small chip stacks at the table? Well, I can tell you the same reporting for NC State, the same year, 2024-2025, has NC State registering $2.4 million in royalties, licensing, advertisement, and corporate sponsorships. I will say those numbers back to back just so you know. You can compare them. Carolina, $23.9 million. NC State, $2.4 million. Yowzers. Yikes. Other words that start with Y that go state, rough. And it's not as bad in the years previous. The years previous, meaning the two 2023, 2024, and 2022, 2023, UNC averaged about $15 million in total, and NC State was right there at 2.4 again, an average. So it wasn't quite as bad, but still drastic. Here's, I don't even want to say a lesson. Here is just one of my 2020s. This is not a new thing that I've never said before. In the 2020s, one of my core values, if I were an athletic director. Do other industries do core values? I know that coaches, when they take over, they pass out binders and they go like, if you flip to page 1, you're going to see the table of contents. Page 2, core values. And it's an acronym. I feel like they pick the acronym first, then come up with the words. Our core values can be remembered in one word: grit. That means we are going to be grateful, respectful, integrity. It's like that doesn't fit. And tough. Core values, I don't even know what the acronym would be, but if I were running an athletic program, if I were an athletic director taking over an athletic program in the 2020s, one of my core principles would be we have to operate like a business. We have to find every single which way we can make as much money as possible. Because quite often, the wins will follow the money. And the way we get the wins to follow the money is by having the most of it. And other teams may be able to just go to donors and put their hands out and say, please, sir, we'd like some more. Like they're Oliver Twist. But guess what? If we make more money and do that, it's all thrown in the same pot, right? All the money comes into the same place. So you may say like, well, Carolina has a bigger brand and Carolina has Bill Belichick and Carolina has, sure, they got Jordan. Yeah, they got cool Argyle. The Carolina blue is cool. You got to find a way to close that gap. You have to find a way to close that gap. And I don't care if it is making every player change their jersey at quarters so you can sell more game-used gear. I don't care if it is being like trying things that look stupid on its face and going, well, that didn't work. We'll try something new next time. It has to be a no bad idea situation. And this goes for NC State, and maybe these numbers will be a cold glass of water to the face, but it goes for every single college sports program in the country. Every single one. I'm going to tell a little Delaware story here, right? Because I tracked Delaware because I went to Delaware and I want them to be good. When EA Sports announced that they were paying out college, the revenue to the different teams based on how often they're played, because they can track that sort of thing. So if your team was picked on online and dynasties and everything more than every other team, you would get the biggest slice of their payout for college football for the video game. You know what Delaware did? And I thought it was genius. And I don't know why I'm like spitting game here, because now someone else might hear it. It should be a secret we keep for ourselves. They started giving away game experiences to random people that submitted that they won the national championship with Delaware in the game. And the more you submitted, the more times you won the national championship with Delaware, the more chances you got to like be on the field pregame or be in a booth or be in a suite or get to hang out with the players at a fan event. And it was genius, because now everyone that lives around there is just playing 1 million dynasties with Delaware. And they didn't reveal the exact numbers, but the way it was painted to me, They were well above where you think Delaware would be as far as who they were. Like, they're in the tier with some teams that are like national brands because they were creative. Now, I don't know if that money that they received from EA Sports would fall into the royalties, licensing, advertisements, and corporate sponsorships area, but if it does, NC State better start giving some stuff away. Make money, make money, make money. And I hate to say this also, but you may have to upset some fans in the process. You may have to upset some fans in the process. If something that has been $10 forever and ever and ever and fans love it is actually something that you could charge $25 for and still be at market equilibrium, you're going to have to do it. Or you and your fans are going to have to be okay not having the most talented rosters. That's kind of the trade-off. That is just the trade-off. You can't be getting out-earned 10-1 by a team that you expect to beat every single year in any facet of your program, in any singular facet. Imagine if you learned someone else was making 10 times as much as you in ticket sales, or 10 times as much as you in merch sales, or 10 times as much as you in concessions, or 10 times as much as you in anything. You would immediately be going to your administration and saying, we need, if they're getting 10 times as much support as you in rev share from the university, you'd be immediately going to your administration saying this is impossible. So when you're the one getting out hustled, you better go in with the same amount of anger towards yourself, inward, man in the mirror stuff. And maybe it's not 10 times. Again, maybe the bookkeeping is a bit different, but I doubt it's equal. I doubt it's equal. And until it is, until you're smoking them, you got to fight. I mean, I'm all the way to, like, no bad ideas, put the whiteboard up and have your marketing department be like, actually, month of June gets kind of slow around here. We could sell high school highlight tapes. Like whatever it takes to bring in more cash, because the wins follow the dollars. Imagine if next year your head coach is like, man, we are $250,000 away. $250,000 away, I think, from closing the deal on a difference maker at an important position, but we just don't have it in the budget. And you're able to go, actually, this year we do. Think about that. There's always more change in the couch. You got to find it. And by the way, Carolina, don't let them catch you. Right? If State starts gaining on you, be creative, find new ways. Don't sell your soul, but sell everything other than it. Wins follow the money. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next here on The Drive, we will get into football at 4. That's right, football at 4. Dave Canales audio, head coach, Carolina Panthers, spoke to the media. Stick around.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Head to Refuel for great deals on all your favorite Pepsi products. Stock up on Pepsi at Refuel today.
Meineke's highly skilled and certified technicians always treat your car like it's their own. With over 50 years of experience, Meineke will diagnose and fix any issue with precision and care using the best state-of-the-art equipment. You can always depend on Meineke to do the job right and get you back on the road in no time. Save time and schedule an appointment now. Visit Meineke.com today. Trust your key with Meineke. Meineke, doing car care right.
You're listening to the Financial Safari News Network.
From Coach Pete's Money Desk, America's wealth coach and author of the big book on retirement, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Coach, what considerations need to go into planning for retirement when you're working with couples?
You must have a plan that is self-completing for both of you, not just one of you. I know we always say, well, Harry's going to die first. Well, then Harry outlives everybody by 20 years. So you don't know, right? We one thing I've learned in my years here on this little round planet is you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But I do know what's going to happen tomorrow with the people over the years, the last 31 years of the families I've served. I've put some of the money aside where they can't lose that money ever and would have a lifetime income.
Holistic retirement planning. See what it can look like for you. 888-456-7577, 888-456-7577, or text ZONE to 600-700.
Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Rain on and off for the rest of the afternoon, some of it heavy at times. We have a flood watch in effect, so today is a WRAL weather alert day. With the rain and clouds, it's cooler with a high of just 77 degrees. 68 overnight. We'll see some evening showers and then a bit of a break, but some more showers on and off tomorrow with a high of 80 degrees.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 516 points today to 51,702. This hour of The Drive is brought to you by All-Star Dog Training. You've seen their dogs featured in college and professional sports. They can train your dog too. Visit allstardogtraining.com and schedule your free evaluation today.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4 is brought to you by John Heister, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and come to Heister. Football at 4 today is the first time all training camp we've heard from Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Kind of crazy, but he stepped to the microphone for the first time this training camp already with an injury to update us on, a couple injuries to update us on. Let's first hear on the Nic Scourton injury. Again, if you're just tuning in, day 1, practice 1, morning 1. Promising young edge rusher Nic Scourton was carted off the field for the Carolina Panthers. That's about all we have. I can actually let you hear more of it from Dave Canales. So here's Dave Canales on the team's reaction to Scourton's injury.
Yeah, they care about each other. You know, this is whenever you're in a group of people doing something hard together. You know, it's has a way of creating a special bond, and you know, between all the workouts and going through a full season and an off season and all that, you know, it means something to the guys, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that you know, the first thought in guys' minds isn't, you know, are we going to have Nic for the season? It's how is Nic doing? You know, and guys are checking on him, and so again, as we have more information, we'll let you know what that is.
Apparently it was pretty somber, which is usually a bad sign. I'll put it this way. Small injuries you become 100% numb to as a football player, especially this far out from actual game time. You treat it more like a nuisance, right? Somebody tweaks a hammy, somebody tweaks an ankle, even if it's like a broken thumb or something. The rest of your position group is just like, oh man, we're gonna get no rest and it's hot out. Like it's not even that, because football, like, injuries happen. It's a physical game. For everybody to be somber, that usually means like, oh man, that guy worked so hard. That's such a bummer. This is something more than that. You don't really know in the moment. You're just going off vibes. But that's why I think, you know, I'm treating it as such a big deal, despite the fact that we don't have MRI results or anything like that yet. Also, you get to know really, really well the tests they do for different knee injuries. Like on the field, if a trainer puts them in a certain position and bends a knee a certain way and has their thumbs in a certain place on a knee, you're just like, oh, they're doing the ACL test. Oh, no. I don't know if they were doing that. Wasn't there. But it gives you the worries a little bit more early. Dave Canales on how the team could replace Nic Scourton if he misses time.
We got guys. That's why we keep bringing in depth and talent and different guys. You know, it's Jalen Phillips in that room. Pat Jones is back, and Princely's coming along. And we got a whole group of guys that we're counting on. And so, you know, if it comes to that, we have guys that we trust, and we're going to ask to do different things. But let's hold off on that until we know what's going on.
Yeah, you have guys. It's you know, it's like having a fire extinguisher in the kitchen. You have it. That's why you have it. You don't want to have to use it. It's there. Maybe gives you a little bit of solace knowing it's there, but it's not you know, like, hey, yeah, we'll just use that. It's fine. It's a real bummer. If anything, if it's more than, you know, like I said, if it's more than like, oh, he's gonna be out 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right? Camp's going on. If it's more than that, something serious. The other news that he gets to update us on, and we knew this was going to happen, was Taylor Moton being out. Non-football illness list, with the blood clots in his lung. And that means Monroe Freeling slides over to right tackle. So instead of having a competition for left tackle between Rasheed Walker and Monroe Freeling, you now have Rasheed Walker at left, Monroe Freeling at right. Here's Dave Canales on Freeling, their first-round rookie, starting on the right side.
Going into it, obviously, with Timo not being available to us for a certain amount of time, we just kind of evaluated the group, and you know, we feel great about Rasheed, and Rasheed's played high-quality football for a long time at left, and I think Rasheed could play in different positions as well. Starting off with the rookie, you want to let a guy focus in on one spot or another, you know, and we gave him a little bit of exposure. Monroe in the spring just playing on both sides. And really, you know, he and I had a conversation, and I don't mind telling you this, but just said, you know, in my mind, I wanted Monroe to go out there, earn the job, win the job, and now we're in a situation we need him to go now, and we have guys behind him that can offer that depth part. But he didn't blink, and he started smiling, and he even said, you know, at one point in the summer, you know, just he and Rob, who were some of the guys working out together, and Rob was like, you should come play over next to me, and just kind of recruiting him to play on that right side. And you can imagine those two monsters next to each other. So we're excited about it, you know, and there'll be a learning curve on either side for him. And so we made that decision and felt good about the group by leaving Rasheed at left and having Monroe go over to right.
Here's the thing. These injuries, they are surprisingly well insulated from them, especially if the players are able to come back. If Taylor Moton is back by, I don't know, 6 games in, just picking a time. If Ike Ekwonu is back, I don't know, halfway in, 2/3 of the way into the season. If Nic Scourton is back having missed minimal games, they're fine. And the players that are stepping in should be able to hold their own. But so many of the places where you were expecting them to get better now are simply fine. Right? What you wanted to have was Taylor Moton with somebody more dynamic on the other side, either a veteran that holds off the dynamic rookie or the dynamic rookie that beats the veteran at left tackle. You wanted to have Jalen Phillips, but also the attention Jalen Phillips brings as an edge rusher was supposed to open up more opportunities for the guy on the other side, which hopefully was going to be Nic Scourton. Now, who knows? Is it Pat Jones coming off an injury? Is it Prince Umanmielen, who I like but is still unproven? Like you're just moving back further and further and further from, oh, that's a place you can be better, to, oh, that's a place where hopefully you're not a weakness. Until the guys come back. Until the players that matter are back. Until they're back and healthy. So, like, Dave Canales is the most optimistic guy on the planet, right? I jokingly said I want to put him and Jake Dickert, the head coach of Wake Forest, in a room together and just see, like, who's left standing, right? Who wins that compliment battle where they're just going back and forth talking about how awesome football is. So he's going to spin everything into a positive way. He doesn't have to spin a ton because they do have guys that are ready. Having said that, the ceiling is dramatically lowered if these guys are hurt. Right, you can still go to like, the floor is pretty high, but the fantasies of like, what if everything goes your way? The lottery ticket fantasies, right? You buy the lottery ticket, you're pretty sure it's not going to work, but you do think of like, what if it goes my way one time for me? Like, what if this is the year the Panthers have a couple players take steps forward and no one takes steps back? What if this is the year everybody stays healthy? Those have already kind of been shot out of the air. We talked about Jonathan Brooks earlier today. What if he's healthy? What if their second-round pick from a couple years ago, who's missed 2 straight years with injuries, what if he's healthy? Are we going to let ourselves down that path? Here's Dave Canales on his first camp practice and injury recovery.
Really looking forward to just the hard work that JB has had to do over the last couple of years to get him to this point. He feels great. He feels strong. He looks fast. He looks like the guy that I remember, and I'm really excited for that. But more so just for a guy to go through things and to be able to have the emotional and mental resiliency to go through that training twice to get himself back. You know, this is a celebration, and you can feel the gratitude on him. You can feel the focus and how important this opportunity is for him.
No brace for Jonathan Brooks, by the way. That's a flex. Coming off back-to-backs to go braceless on his knee, day one, it's a flex. I'm really, really hoping he stays healthy this year. I'm really, really hoping for his mental sake. Really, really hoping. Just unbelievably so. And not only for the offense, which needs a home run hitter in there in the backfield, needs somebody that brings the skill set that he showed when he was at Texas, needs that, but also just for his mentals. Those rehabs are not easy. Some of my really, really good friends have gone through ACL rehab. It is like monotonous pain for months on end. All right, let's talk about the good. How about the attacking mindset and confidence of the offense? I hope we get an attacking offense from Carolina this year. Here's more from Dave Canales earlier today.
First and foremost, just watching them come out of the huddle. There wasn't a lot of uncertainty. Guys that are familiar with the system, where to line up, what we're trying to get done. I could feel that. I could feel the tempo. And there's an attacking mindset. There's an aggressiveness. When you know, then you can just go out there and play free and play fast, and that's what it felt like.
Oh, goodness. You can go ahead and fire breaking news up for me. Ian Rappaport, NFL Network. I'll just read the tweet. Panthers, not NFL Network. Or yeah, still, but ESPN as well. Panthers promising young linebacker Nic Scourton, who went down in practice with a knee injury that left him in tears, suffered a torn ACL, sources tell Ian Rappaport and Cameron Wolfe. He's done for the season.
That is brutal. Barely got through an hour of the first practice of training camp, and his season's over, man. That sucks.
Season ender day one for quite literally the player ESPN picked as the Panthers' breakout player this year. Done for the season. First of all, put the human touch on it. You feel for the guy. You feel for Nic Scourton himself. It is not easy to get ready for an NFL season. It is not easy to build up your hopes for like your second NFL season. So often your first year, you are going straight from college to preparing for the combine, from combine, staying ready for the draft, from the draft, getting ready for training camp. Like you don't even get to catch your breath. So between year one and year two is the first time you get to evaluate, adjust, storm the next season, right? Go all out for the next season. And you're so excited for it. Didn't even make it to the end of practice number 1 before suffering a torn ACL. Again, the breaking news, linebacker Nic Scourton, Carolina Panthers, according to Ian Rappaport and Cameron Wolfe, a couple of insiders, he is done for the year with a torn ACL. Everything I said earlier, I'm sure you know which tests they do for ACL tears, and you know what it looks like. Now it makes a lot of sense as to why the team was so somber and melancholy and giving him hugs and surrounding him before he made his way on the cart off the field today. That is brutal. Now, removing the human touch, removing the human element, we got to talk football, and we will do that right after this. What does Nic Scourton's loss, not just for a couple of games, but for the season, mean to the Carolina Panthers defense? Stick around.
Hey everyone, Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. That's right, with Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000. They paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. And it gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn out process, and listen, no closing costs. You may be able to even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much you can get right now. Call 919-381-1760. That's 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. Join me and my co-host Chris Lee from WRAL TV as our podcast Panthers Playbook rolls on this offseason, presented by Wake Orthopedics. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Carolina Panthers news as we break down the NFL draft, insights on free agents and prospects, plus all the inside information on the offseason. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
It's your turn to play with the new Scratch Off, Fast Play, and Digital Instance games from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Spin your way toward a $200,000 Scratch Off top prize or go for a jackpot with Digital Instance and Fast Play. Plus, enter for a chance to win a VIP trip for 2 to see Wheel of Fortune in LA. Come on, big money! Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds to win range from 1 in 3.76 to 4.31. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Leaves, water, debris. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. There are a lot of things that can wreak havoc on your commercial property, and we are proud to be there for our dedicated customers that depend on us. From helping to design and build the roof for new construction, to maintenance, repair, and replacements, we've got the experience that you can count on. At RoofWorks, we don't want to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. Visit us at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696 and manage your diabetes as easy as...
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you are just tuning in and you're a Carolina Panthers fan, buckle up. Sit down, get yourself a glass of water. It's not good news. According to Ian Rappaport and Cameron Wolfe, a couple of insiders for the Carolina Panthers, Tests revealed Nic Scourton, second-year linebacker, edge rusher, in the first practice. The very first practice of training camp.
It was before like 10:30 in the morning.
Suffered a torn ACL and is done for the year in his right knee. Done for the year. Now, I'm going to echo what we said before the break, which is, this isn't fantasy football or this isn't a video game, right? It's not just some digital person. Like, that's a real guy that worked really, really hard to get ready for a football season, and he's not going to get to see anything, right? He's not going to get to even get a practice squad rep this year. He's not going to be in a preseason game, and he was supposed to be a big part of the team. So you feel for the player first, and I hope we've emphasized that. From a football standpoint, it is a brutal blow for a defense that is supposed to be and still needs to be the rock for this team. And it's already opening up some of the big moves you made this offseason are already being tested. Jalen Phillips was brought in to be the big money edge rusher, okay? Where he was paid big money to be a big-time edge rusher, free agent. But what is the thing that Jalen Phillips has struggled with? Staying healthy, right? He's been tremendously impactful when healthy. He is an unbelievable athlete. An unbelievable athlete. And we were talking off air a little bit at ACC kickoff. Credit to Manny Diaz for a lot of that reclamation project when he was the head coach at the University of Miami. And he was kind of rebuilt after some real bad injuries early in his college career. Jalen Phillips was brought in to be the difference maker. But the caveat that comes with Jalen Phillips is he isn't always that healthy. Matter of fact, he misses a lot of games. If you have Nic Scourton, and I like Princely Monmielen, and if Pat Jones is back and healthy, another guy that we saw at ACC kickoff, he was there to see his college coach, Pat Narduzzi at Pitt. If you have the squad there, and obviously Derek Brown and the guys in the middle and everything, you can survive a Jalen Phillips month on the IR, right? You can survive an injury here or there. You take away Nic Scourton, now you're looking at Jalen Phillips and saying, I can't survive if you go down.
Make sure you wrap yourself up in bubble wrap every time you leave the facility. Every time you're in the facility, honestly.
If it's not game day, bubble wrap. Like, we cannot survive without Jalen Phillips now, or else we are a team that, by his nature, Ejiro Evero, their defensive coordinator, does not like to blitz. He likes to generate pressures in other ways. And if you're doing that, you need your edge rushers winning. That was not what I said the first time. You need that to happen. And if you don't have just some dudes on the outside, multiples, it's tough to do. So now you're looking at Derek Brown. And Derek Brown, I love him. Great player. Unbelievable. I think he's still underrated. And he actually is being given some love and still underrated. But now you're looking at him and saying, what's the one thing that we worry about with you? Unbelievable double team eater. Unbelievable against the run. Unbelievable force. Not the best pass rusher. Or at least in his career has not been the most significantly impactful edge rusher / pass rusher, I should say, not edge rusher, pass rusher. You take Nic Scourton away, somebody's going to have to rush the quarterback. Somebody's going to have to close that pocket. So now you need Jalen Phillips to do the exact thing that you were worried about him not being able to do, which is stay healthy. You need Derek Brown to do maybe the only thing he hasn't done at an elite level throughout his career, which is get after the quarterback. You're going to need Princely Monmielen to not take 1 step forward, but 10 steps forward. You're going to need Pat Jones coming off a significant injury to show up and be ready. It is a brutal blow football-wise for the Carolina Panthers. And I can't emphasize this enough. There's an argument training camp hasn't even started. They had a practice. Whole bunch of NFL teams haven't even put on pads. Haven't even put on cleats. Brutal. And you already start thinking, right? I'm sure these injuries happened a ton, Right? I'm sure back in the day, guys would show up on day one and get hurt, and maybe it's just we weren't as aware of like who the potential number 2 or number 3 edge rusher was for the Carolina Panthers. And if they got hurt, we were just, all right, next man, who's up? If it wasn't a superstar. But I don't know. It seems like you got to get the offseason to be more intense or something. Or maybe, I don't know what surface the field was. That's always going to be a debate. It's just, goodness, it seems like these heartbreaking day one injuries happen more often than they used to. I had a teammate, by the way. His name was Paul Warlow. I believe he's on the Cleveland Browns coaching staff now. Led the Falcons in tackles for a few years. He's from Delaware, and he was going to get to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, hometown team. This was like year 7 or 8 in his NFL career. Showed up, and I want to say like first day of OTAs, tore something in his knee. And it's just like, goodness gracious, what that does to a person. Nic Scourton is probably in a real sad spot right now. So send him to some support if you have any way of getting a message to him. And then send some support to Ejiro Evero, because he's got to be looking around going, why can't I have nice things? We finally spent the money to get me my big flashy edge rusher, and you take my number 2 away from me on day number 1. So if you drive by the practice facility of the Carolina Panthers at 10:30 at night, and you see a guy just yelling at the sky, having an argument with the heavens like Bruce Almighty, just let Evero go. Just let him have his moment, because he's got to get some things off his chest. And he's probably right now, a little frustrated with the optimism from Dave Canales. This is not an opportunity to show how well our second string is prepared, Dave. This is not an opportunity to show how well we respond to adversity, Dave. This stinks. And a bunch of words I can't say on radio. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. One more time for those of you just tuning in. I'll just read the tweet from Ian Rappaport, ESPN, NFL Network insider, as well as the reporting done by Cameron Wolfe, national NFL reporter for NFL Network and ESPN as well. Panthers promising young linebacker Nic Scourton, who went down in practice with a knee injury that left him in tears, suffered a torn ACL, sources told Rappaport and Wolf. He's done for the season. Gosh, that last sentence. Sources told me, but you feel like it's almost over, and then they just hit you with, he's done for the season. You knew it was true when you heard torn ACL, but just reading that last sentence. Well, we now have our first built-in excuse for the Carolina Panthers as well. You know, the golf thing? On the first tee, you just rapid fire them. Well, my back's been a little tight. I didn't get a chance to hit the range. This course, I've never played it before. Have you played it before? You just,
hey, that's what the breakfast ball's for.
You just fire every excuse out there, just in case you're playing bad, 6-7 holes in. You go, well, I did tell you.
My back was stiff this morning.
Yeah, I told you my back's been sore.
I haven't swung a club in a month, man. I just needed to warm up.
Panthers fans, day 1, game 1. Well, our team, we're already missing one of our young stars in Nic Scourton, and my back is a little tight. You can already build them in. That way, if things go poorly, this is what you point it to. Absolutely brutal. That might change up how we do this next segment a little bit, because here on the Drive, we were planning on a game of cons and cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
Confidence and concerns. And with it being the first day of training camp, it felt like, kind of the last time before the thing gets real, we could do a cons and cons. Well, maybe we were a little late on that one. Carolina Panthers, cons and cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about? You can be confident or concerned about multiple things, but you got to pick the most. Man, I'm a little dejected. I'm a little sad. Let's power through. Hey, I got good news and bad news. Which do you want first? You always take the bad news, so we start with the concerns. Max, what are you most concerned about for the Carolina Panthers?
Well, I'm concerned about the newly weakened edge rusher depth for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
It's been an area of issue for the Panthers for the last handful of years in getting to the quarterback. Of course, they go and get Jalen Phillips off the market, which is a nice pickup, kind of a high-end edge rusher to help, with that aspect of the game. But now you've lost one of your talented young edge rushers for the season on the first day of training camp. So that means one more injury could really put you in a bad spot. And if that were to happen, if Phillips were to go down, or Princely Uman-Mielen, or whoever, you could end up somehow with your edge rushing being even worse than it was before. And it's not like they were getting home before anyway. So again, just crushing blow obviously creates a concern, and maybe they have to look into acquiring some kind of help at that position if that is the case. But gosh, it is just a real demoralizing blow there on the first day of training camp.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that the temptation is to go concern the news we just heard, recency bias. But I'm going to stay strong based on what we were talking about earlier, which is quite simply, even with the injury to Nic Scourton, my biggest concern is still Bryce Young. Because, again, like Nic Scourton, I think was due to have a big year. I think he was going to benefit from the attention given to other guys in the improved defense. I think he was going to benefit from that. But I don't think he's a difference between like 11 sacks from that position and 4, right? I think he might be a difference between 8 and 6 or 7 and 5, something like that. And does the difference between 8 sacks and 6 sacks matter if Bryce Young reverts to some of his old struggles? I don't think it does. Right? Does it, like, a really good defense might give up 21 points. If the Panthers offense is only scoring 14, that's not going to help you. Right? So it all falls in the less important category than Bryce Young. Do you know what I look forward to? And I hope it happens with Bryce. Like, I want to be clear. I'm not rooting against him. It's just, you can't control what your instincts say. I look forward to the day when there's a straight drop back, just a catch and a drop back, and I don't go, ooh, ah. Right? I like you're watching a tightrope walker or something where is this gonna go bad? Eee! That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm concerned about Bryce, and I can't really take him off the concerns until you can go through like a traditional drop back pass in a crucial moment, and I'm not tremendously fearing for the outcome. That's my concern. Now we get to the more fun part. Let's get to the confidence. Max, what are you most confident in?
On the flip side of my concern in terms of the pass rush, I am confident in the help that they've brought in on defense, and not just Jalen Phillips, but Dave Canales in particular spoke very highly of Devin Lloyd on his first day of training camp. Linebacker was probably the other biggest position of need, not even just on defense, but in terms of the entire team that needed to be addressed. And they went out and got an all-pro linebacker in Devin Lloyd, and already showing dividends in terms of what he can add. Apparently he's showing some of that leadership out there on the field that you'd like to see in kind of a big-time guy that you go and pick up in free agency. And it's going to help shore up that position group really well this year. So let's hope he doesn't get hurt sometime here in training camp. But Devin Lloyd, Jalen Phillips, just a couple of the pickups on that defensive side of the ball that I really like. And, by adding guys like that too, you kind of accounted for a little bit of bad news like this when it comes to the Nic Scourton injury. So the new pickups on defense, that's something I'm confident in heading into this season as they start training camp.
I think there's still a level of unknown with those guys. As good as Devin Lloyd was last year, and he was, all-pro caliber, he really broke out last year. You know what I mean? He had some good years volume-wise with tackles and things. But last year is where he really put his athleticism kind of into the full picture. And Jalen Phillips, I think we might still be waiting for him to put all of his full picture together, right? So there's still a little bit of unknown. I don't know if I'm confident as much as I am, intrigued, tantalized by the prospect of what they can be. My confidence, I went one guy on offense for concern. I'm going one guy on offense for confidence. Tetairoa McMillan. What he did last year in that passing game environment as a rookie is really impressive. Really impressive. There weren't a ton of veterans to show him the ropes. There was never anyone more circled on the scouting report. And he had his ups and downs, but he was really just mostly nickel and diming his way through a season. Right? Just 50 yards here, 60 yards here, 80 yards there, 40 yards there. And I'm talking about like games. And he ended up over 1,000. The rookie of the year in a passing game that you couldn't call voluminous. I don't want to put him in the category with guys like Garrett Wilson or guys like, we've seen good wide receivers, maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know. We've seen really good players that maybe their environment has brought down a bit, but similarities are there, right? And you hope that at some point early in his career, he gets to match up with a play caller, a quarterback, an offense that has a bit more volume, can give him a bit more coverage downfield, and he can advance out of it. But he's really gosh darn talented. And by all accounts, came back much more physically ready for an NFL season. So there you go. Panthers cons and cons. With just a gray, like Charlie Brown rain cloud.
Yeah, take one of the clouds from outside and basically put it over training camp today.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Was it raining in Charlotte?
I've
seen the videos.
I don't know,
it doesn't look like
I think the weather was better there than it was here today.
That would have been even more brutal. If somebody came up to him and went like, "Coach, you want to practice? It's going to be a little wet out." He's like, "Yeah, let's get out there."
I didn't bring my cleats today, but I said, "All right, if I wear my street shoes, yeah, man, it's fine. Go ahead. It'll be fine."
Absolutely brutal. If you don't know what we're talking about for brutal, I'm just going to remind you throughout the show. It wasn't a bad dream. Nic Scourton, second-year linebacker, edge rusher for the Carolina Panthers, practice one before noon. This was like morning. Tore his ACL, right knee, done for the season. Goodness. Let's transition to some college football here. And Max, let's just jump straight to the Tommy Ashley cuts. UNC football fans, listen up. Tommy Ashley, Inside Carolina, joined Next Up with Paul Ihander this morning, which is produced by none other than Max Scourton. None other than Max Gorin, who is also producing our show here today in place of Dennis Cox. And I talked yesterday about the secrecy around Carolina. At ACC kickoff, we weren't given many opportunities to learn about the Carolina Tar Heels. We had players on, and we talked with a couple of them. We talked with Melkart Abu-Jaude. We talked with Christo Kelly. So one offensive lineman, one defensive lineman. They were great. Different dudes, but they were great. But Bill Belichick's always going to be a bit more guarded. The messages that come out of Carolina are always going to be a bit more Patriots-like, right? A lot of do your job, a lot of no details, a lot of do your job. Do your job. They just say it over and over again. And with that, sometimes you need to lean on the reporters that cover the team to give you a little bit of insight. So Tommy Ashley, as I said, Inside Carolina, joined Next Up with Paul Ihander and Max Gorin, gave some insight. Max, you want to set up what insight Tommy gave you guys?
Yeah, so we started things off, and of course the big story heading into last season was Bill Belichick taking over as head coach. There's a lot of theatrics, and there was a lot of off-the-field kind of hullabaloo that ended up kind of taking over the headlines and the conversation. There's even one point in the middle of the season where there were thoughts of maybe Bill Belichick was going to resign because things were getting so messy. So the first thing we asked him about this morning was about whether or not the attention will be maybe more on-the-field product rather than the off-the-field theatrics, and this is what Tommy had to say.
Certainly seems that way so far. We know things can change in a hurry, but for the most part, everything's been focused on what we'll see on the field here when camp opens, and hopefully it stays that way. Last year, we can talk about the on-field stuff, but the off-field stuff was just, whether it was generated by us in the media or by the internet or whatever, it was just exhausting at times trying to cover that and understand all that and do with that and then cover a football team. So hopefully it's about ball this year and not all the other stuff.
I think one of the underrated biggest difference, I don't even know if it's underrated because obviously you guys are talking about it, I'm talking about it, I talked about it at ACC Media Days, is the fact that there's not the circus spotlight on Carolina this year. Like in retrospect, and this is 2020 hindsight, I was not saying this ahead of time, so I'm not saying like, oh, I knew it then or I'm smarter then or anything like that. They had no business playing Monday Night Football week 1 last year. They should have been playing an FCS team at home on a noon kick opposite of like Texas, Ohio State, whatever the biggest game was of that first year, that first week, when nobody was watching, just so they could kick off the rust or iron out some wrinkles. That TCU game was it was a tone setter. The opposite of a tune-up game, and it set them back. Not having that's okay. I think it's going to – by the way, they are playing TCU, and it is going to be a big game. But at least leading up to it won't be as crazy. I mean, I remember doing like, they're playing Monday night, but luckily Bill Belichick has so much experience playing on Monday night because he's an NFL coach and Monday Night Football. Like, we were in the weeds on it. Not the best hindsight conversation that we had. What other insight did Tommy give you guys on Next Up?
I had asked him about the quarterback battle when it comes to UNC. As we know, Gio Lopez, their starter from last season, ended up transferring over to Wake Forest this offseason. Things didn't really pan out great at UNC with him under center. Offense kind of struggled to get going at times, and he didn't really unlock that kind of dual threat ability that he was teased to have as he came into Chapel Hill last season. So I asked Tommy where the quarterback battle stands in terms of who could be in the lead to take the job in week 0.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I feel like the Newkirk and Burgess are not ready yet. They obviously have some talent. Burgess coming off an injury in high school. But, when you look at Edwards and O'Neal, and Jason Staples does wonderful, extensive scouting reports over at Inside Carolina, you want a guy that you can count on to have some consistency and do what you need him to do. And with Bobby Petrino in the offense, I think Edwards is that guy. He may not wow people, and he may not be that good. We'll see. But I feel like he has the skill set and the experience to sort of accomplish what Petrino wants to do. And it all comes down to the offensive line anyway. Edwards is not the most fleet of foot guy. He's not the most wiggle guy that can get away from a lot of pressure, but he processes fast and he gets the ball out. And that's a big part of Petrino's offense. And it's going to be a big part of Carolina's offense with the unknowns at offensive line. So we'll see. I would always expect them to go with the veteran guy, at least to start.
I agree that you would expect the veteran to start. If for none other reason, then it's much easier to go older to younger when you make the transitions than it is to go younger to older. Going from a veteran to a younger guy feels like, fresh start. Going from younger guy to older guy feels like you're trying to grasp and save something. So the most senior players, I think, always have a little bit of a leg up. That's not to say the younger guys can't way outplay them. Burgess is one that I know a lot are pinning a lot of hope on, and as some kind of like savior player down the road. If that ends up happening, he's the like, I'm trying to save my job. We can't give the first round pick the year to learn the NFL. Like, I'm trying to save my job. If at the bye week, if we're not above 500, we're putting the number 4 pick in, right? It happens every single year in the NFL. If things are going poorly, don't be surprised if they turn to one of those young guys and say, we need you to show some flashes to just keep everybody off our back. Once again, that's Tommy Ashley, Inside Carolina on Next Up with Paul Ihander, produced by Max Gorin, every weekday morning, 9 to 10, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Listen, closing costs should not be stopping you from buying or refinancing your home. Period. Why? Because Miller Lending offers a no-cost loan. If the closing costs are what are stopping you from buying or refinancing your home, from getting that mortgage, if there's a no closing cost loan, that should remove the obstacle, right? If you're like, I would run for miles, but I have a broken foot. And then they're like, oh, this is the no broken foot running. It's like, oh, my problem is solved. Let's do it. This is a one-legged race. You hop. It's like, oh, we're good. That's exactly what's happening here. Miller Lending is saying if closing costs are stopping you, no more. Nothing should be stopping you. Call Miller Lending. They can explain. It's a no-cost loan. Ask about it. The phone number, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. The better analogy would have been, like, I can't make it to the bigs. I'm a bad hitter. It's like, but you're a pitcher. We don't ask you to hit. Perfect. Get on up here. Right? I want to get a new house, but I don't have the closing costs. Perfect. Miller Lending, no-cost loan. Get on out there. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to a feedback frenzy. Coming up.
The Adam Gold Show.
Don't buy this line that Carolina only won the cup because Florida was too broken to challenge for a third straight title. The Hurricanes were the best team in the league. They were way better than they were the previous year. And I know we can't prove it, but I think Carolina would have beaten Florida if the Panthers were standing in their way. Don't worry what Florida did. Make yourself better.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Ever catch yourself hiding your smile in photos? If you're dealing with stained, uneven, crowded, or missing teeth, you're not alone, and you don't have to live with it. At Chapel Hill Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, Dr. James Ferguson and his team help patients transform their smiles every day, using treatments like veneers, dental implants, and so much more. Whether you want a small refresh or a complete smile makeover, your plan is designed just for you. Come see what's possible. Visit chapelhilldds.com to request a consultation today.
Rev up your summer at the Make This the Summer event going on now at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Grab summer adventures when you drive home a brand new 2026 Ram 1500 for 20% off. Excludes RHO. See dealer for details. Or expand your options for off-road exploration with a new 2026 Jeep Gladiator. Save 15% off during the Make This the Summer event. Plus, get 2.9% financing for 72 months. So get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington today.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
This hour of The Drive is brought to you by All-Star Dog Training. You've seen their dogs featured in college and professional sports. They can train your dog too. Visit allstardogtraining.com and schedule a free evaluation today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I don't know what's going on, but every time I feel like I look up at ESPN, there's just more Drake May stuff. He is the NFL's golden boy right now. Do we really need to see him playing pickleball with his brothers? Listen, I'm a big Drake May fan. Don't get me wrong. Really enjoyed his time here in the Triangle with Carolina. Really enjoyed his time last year lighting up the NFL. I don't think, like, this is getting to the point where it's like, what does everyone else do with their siblings? Every time they cut to them and they're like, we used to play basketball in the backyard. We play in the driveway. And you know what? One of us wouldn't like it if we lost. Like, What were everyone else's sibling growing up like? Everyone's like, oh my goodness, now I see why they're such a good sports family. I'm like, were y'all not playing outside with your siblings and cousins and friends? Were you guys just like, I lost, yahoo, let's go inside? No, it was everybody competes when you're a kid. Now they're like, we still get together, and when we play charades, it gets heated. Yeah, go to 90% of families that I know. By the way, I'm not saying our families are like the Mays. They are incredible. They have what is it? Everyone other than Drake May won a national championship, right? And he's the one that almost won a Super Bowl. So they're doing just fine. They're doing much better. But I don't think it's that crazy that, like, when we play pickleball, sometimes we talk trash. Yeah. Your siblings are around the same age. It's going to happen. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's my little rant on Drake May. And now Carolina fans can get mad at me for saying that. Let's go ahead and hear from some of you. Although it'd be crazy if you were that quick on the draw, in something we call a feedback frenzy. All right, the way this works, our producers for today, it's Max Gorin, peruses all of the internets, all of our YouTube live streams, our YouTube comments, our YouTube everything, and he picks out the best conversations, best comments from all of you, brings them on air, we react live on air. Max, take it away.
All right, we actually had a pretty active YouTube chat today, and in response to Nic Scourton going down, out for the season with the torn ACL suffered this morning on the first day of training camp. Ron in the YouTube chat said, Saints fan here, next man up. We were young, bright-eyed fans once upon a time. We used to be absolutely obsessed on individual players and he's put in parentheses, from September 1967 to 2005, Sean Payton. Then we learned team.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, Cam Jordan hasn't missed a game since 2011. So maybe you're not worried about edge rusher injuries because you haven't had any. Listen, there's a salary cap in the NFL. If there wasn't a salary cap in the NFL, the Panthers, with their, $40 billionaire owner, would be A-okay just going next man up. But in a salary cap sport, every dollar you pay somebody is a dollar you're not paying another position. Every draft pick you use on a player to get a cost-controlled contract is a draft pick you use on a player that you can't use on another position. So it's important when good players get hurt. It is. Factual. Also, just off the top of my head, Saints fans cried a lot about Chris Olave getting all those concussions, didn't he? Oh no! Yeah, I don't know. I can recall some injuries that you would cry about, right? What about referees' calls? You cry about those? About ones in NFC Championship games?
And then we had a year of random pass interference reviews, and they were like, "No, we're not doing this."
Saints complain plenty. They're actually kind of ironically complaining about Panthers complaining here. So, Spider-Man meme. What do you got for us, Max?
This is from Port Dog in the YouTube chat. For a quarterback who historically starts slow, Bryce Young needs to play multiple series in at least 2 preseason games to get a rhythm with 3 new offensive linemen.
Listen, I've always been pro playing players in the preseason. I'm also not pro reading Dr. Seuss on air. Paying and playing players in the preseason, I've always been pro. However, if you want to convince a traditional doesn't play their players in the preseason professional football coach that this is the year to play their players in the preseason, you shouldn't start that preseason with a premier player being put on IR after preseason practice number 1. You shouldn't do that. Nic Scourton's injury is not going to convince them to expose their players to more injuries. That I can guarantee you. So while we can hope maybe they give Bryce an opportunity to get, I call it work up a lather, right? Get a little bit of sweat in. I would not expect it this year. I would not expect it. So, hope for the best, prepare for the worst kind of deal. Hope that they do, but be ever, ever, ever ready that they don't.
All right, this next comment is from a conversation about we were reacting to an article ranking the Panthers' young talent 21st in the National Football League. This comment is from JDA89. He said, between Mechie and Brazel, they're about to get XL up out of here expeditiously. Please and thank you.
I doubt it. I mean, maybe at the end of his contract. That's definitely a possibility. But you just don't see first-rounders getting cut that often. Secondly, anything you get out of John Mechie is a bonus. He is not somebody to expect a lot out of. You can have high hopes for it, and obviously he has the relationship with Bryce going back to college, and at one point in time was a dynamite prospect, but there's been ups and downs there. Also, if I'm not mistaken, close to 30? Maybe not. Maybe mid-20s. Tried to do some math there on when he was in college. 27, perhaps?
26.
26, okay. So actually he's still young. Plenty of upside. I take back that last part.
Do you know he was Taiwanese Canadian?
I did not. What a reaction. Actually, there's a documentary going on, 30 for 30 on Hines Ward as a Asian American wide receiver that changed the game. So, and I know that they talked to his mom and his upbringing and everything, and I need to watch it. But maybe John Mechie will carry that torch. What was I saying? Oh, and actually, that article that had the talent under 25 ranked on every NFL roster, one of the big guys that was like, they do have this player under 25 was Nic Scourton. So for this season, that ranking takes an even further hit because he's like 22. He was one of the youngest players in the entire draft last year, which is why everyone was expecting such a jump. Like he's getting that sophomore to junior year college bump going into second year of the NFL. However, now he won't because of the injury. Why can't we have nice things?
This is this next one.
Wait, did you know this? On the TV, Little League Softball World Series, tickets already punched. Clayton, North Carolina.
Oh, the Pitt County All-Stars won again. They must have won again today because they had just advanced to the Southeastern Final yesterday.
It said tickets punched. Clayton, North Carolina was one of the 6 teams.
Way
to go, Clayton. Way to go.
Yeah, they were in an elimination game against Georgia a couple days ago. And
take that, Georgia. Way to go.
Walked it off in the bottom of the 6th. So I guess they made it all the way to the World Series. Good for that. I think that event is in Greenville. Little League World Series of Softball is in Greenville, I'm pretty sure, too. So kind of home field advantage there.
Even better. I think it's cool when somewhere you're local to goes on one of those runs. Everybody gets real behind them. I was a year older than them, but I played with in middle school and high school some guys that won the Little League World Series from Eva Beach, Hawaii. They were like rock stars. They had all their gear. They would wear 2 years later. They'd show up at football practice, walk in the locker room wearing their hat, and it would be like, "Oh, you guys won the Little League World Series." It was very cool. Shout out Alakai Aglape, my guy. Keep going.
Yeah, we got one more here. This is a comment and a reply that we'll put together. The original commenter said, I wonder if we're still suffering from the mismanaging of the roster by Fitterer. And the reply said, most definitely we are. A deep playoff run is the steel wool that's finally going to scrub the last stains of that era off of us.
At a certain point, you got to stop blaming the previous guy. Maybe there's a hint of you can still blame Scott Fitterer, who, by the way, he's now working for an agency, right? He's not even in the game anymore. He's working for an agency telling agents which front office executives they should go manage. At a certain point, you just got to own your roster. Even if there's a player who was acquired by Fitterer, you've had the opportunity to replace them, and you haven't done it. There's a difference between reasons and excuses.
This will be season 3 for Dan Morgan as the GM?
Correct.
They still got the previous guy's quarterback in there, though.
But they
traded a lot for him, too.
They could have.
I know they've had, and they have improved the roster as well. So I don't know if they'll have that deep playoff run to kind of wipe it away this year, but they're moving in the right direction.
I mean, what is a deep playoff run? 1 win?
At least.
You have to make it to to me, a deep playoff run is like a conference championship game appearance. Ain't many of those going around.
Could only be 1 win away if you get the 1 seed and you win the divisional round.
There ain't that
I don't know if
many
that's happening.
going around.
I've actually got one more here from the chat. I think this is an intriguing question, so we'll sneak it in here before the end of the segment. This is from Reggie. Duke football won the ACC championship last year, which was a surprise for many. Who can be that surprise team this year, or would it just be chalk? Anything can happen in the ACC.
Okay, I'm looking at the logo scroll behind me here.
The one that jumps out to me is Cal.
The logo that just jumped out to me for ACC is Notre Dame, because they're not. At least not for football. Who could jump? Cal would be one. Cal would be similar in that they would build around their quarterback who's getting buzzed. That'd be Jaren Kiave Sangopolo-Tele. I don't know if this would consider a break. I mean, State would be similar, and they're not picked in any of them, built around their quarterback, C.J. Bailey. Other than that, I mean, if you're looking for a real long shot, I don't know if Duke was a real long shot, but if you're looking for a real long shot, I'd say Syracuse or Virginia Tech. Syracuse was kind of, people don't realize this.
They were decent before that QB injury last
year.
Peter
Angeli, they were humming with Angeli. Through 4 games, I want to say he was leading the country in passing yards, and they were 3-1 coming off a win over Clemson. He gets hurt, and they lost the next 8 straight games.
And he's back.
He's back, but he's coming off an Achilles in less than a calendar year. So that would be a real long shot. And then Virginia Tech, just the James Franklin of it all. Maybe he puts it all together as soon as he gets away from Penn State. But there's the obvious ones. I'm not even there are a bunch that are just closer to betting.
If we're trying to name long shots, you have to kind of go off the board.
You got to eliminate because Louisville to me is similar to Duke last year, right? Transfer quarterback. People are high on him, but you're not really sure. But also, Louisville is, I think, the second betting favorite to win the ACC. So they're not like Duke in that way.
Yeah, and even though Clemson had a bad finish last year, that was out of character for Clemson. Like Clemson winning the ACC is never a long shot.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Up next, we have the starting 5. Stick around.
Adam.
I'm Adam Gold, and I'm there.
Tim.
I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm there.
Dennis.
I'm Dennis Cox, and I'm there.
Victoria.
I'm Victoria Bodenecker, and I'm there.
Paul.
I'm Paul Eihander, and I'm there too.
You'll find them all here on the brand new 99.9 The Fan app. To work, to school, the beach, the mountains, the arena, take The Fan with you wherever you go. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
Yeah, can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons from Chapel Hill Tire. I get it. You don't wake up excited to schedule car maintenance. Between work, school, family activities, and everything else life throws your way, it can be tough to find the time. That's why I'm excited to share that our University Place and Crabtree locations are open Saturdays from 8 to 5. Now you'll have one more option for taking care of your vehicle. Schedule your Saturday appointment today at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
When you own your own business, you own every decision. Catch the red eye or take the 6 a.m.
Make a new hire or promote internally.
Celebrate a win with a toast at the gate or unwind at the lounge.
Big props to this team.
Some decisions are a win-win, like earning 8 times points on Chase Travel. Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business, the business card that gives back all you put in. Visit chase.com/reserve business to learn more. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. We had a lot of rain for the first half of the day. We still have the chance for some hit-and-miss showers and storms for the remainder of the afternoon and into the evening. Certainly a cooler day with temperatures staying in the upper 70s.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day down 506 points to 51,711.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is 5 o'clock on this Thursday, so it is time for the starting five. Brought to you by Baker Home Exteriors. The Baker family has roofed the Carolinas since 1915. Baker Home Exteriors, roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Always good work. BakerHomeExteriors.com. With the starting five, let's start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We've got renderings, everybody. Stadium renderings for the Carolina Panthers. Home, Bank of America Stadium. We also have news that there is an extended agreement between Bank of America and the stadium and Tepper Holdings, I guess, to continue naming it Bank of America Stadium. Listen, it's going to be $1.3 million in total for the renovations that are going to include the stadium renovations and like a little entertainment area, indoor music venue next door.
Billion there, not million. I assume,
am I saying
right?
million?
I assume it's
million?
billion.
Yeah,
you said
billion.
million. I assume it's billion.
It's billion. That's with a B. See, in our brains, what's the difference, right? But in their brains, it's a big difference. An additional $500 million kicked in by David Tepper, which will help with the renovation and related projects. He also has committed to covering all overages and ongoing maintenance. The city of Charlotte in 2024 agreed to fund $650 million of an $800 million stadium renovation. So Tepper was already on the hook for $150 million. He's added in another $500 million, which...
What's an extra $500 mil?
I mean...
Pocket change.
Give a half a bill, take a half a bill. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. It's cool. I've listened to long podcasts. This was a while ago from Mark Cuban about why he got out of owning the Dallas Mavericks. And he basically was like, because you're not in the industry of owning a team anymore. It's a real estate play, right? Every owner just wants to build a stadium and hopefully they can build it or already built it in a place where they own all of the surrounding areas. And then the real estate goes up and you just build a bunch of entertainment things, entertainment districts, and you lease out and you rent out and you just print money. And it's a real estate holdings now. So good on Tepper. The one thing I will say is they're not putting a retractable roof on the stadium. Football played outside. It's the way it should be. Little mist. Oh, we looked at the forecast. There's going to be a drizzle in the second half, so we're going to go ahead and shut the roof. Have everybody play at 72.5 degrees with no wind. No, we're not doing that. As long as there's no lightning in the area, we're playing ball outside.
We just need to get some grass on the field now.
Yeah, that's becoming a thing. Like the World Cup really messed everybody over. Because now players are just like, oh, so you can put grass in these stadiums. I thought it was impossible. What they should do is show the ratings for like the last 8 World Cup games and go, you get that many people to a regular season game, you get that many people to watch it, we'll be A-okay. We'll grow the grass by hand. Then you'll show the Super Bowl ratings and go, all right, well, for the Super Bowl, we'll get grass. It is pretty crazy. They don't have grass in these stadiums. I think fairly certainly by 20 years from now, turf is going to be a high school and middle school thing that they have just to keep costs down. And every college of any kind of value and every pro of any kind of value is going to have grass. And we're just going to continue to get better at it. Where's all those turf experts, right? All the golf course management majors are suddenly going to be real in demand. You would have appreciated this, Max. A couple months ago, I saw there was an assistant turf manager at Augusta National. They were hiring, and the salary was like nothing. But one of the perks is if you work for Augusta National twice a year, you get to play the course. And I'm sure they got millions of applicants to get paid nothing. Wake up every morning studying grass. What number was that? That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Second body, Hachimura, and he turns it over. Get it ahead for James. Slaps it over to Kennard. Lakers are down by 3 for the tie. It's good. LeBron James is money.
All right, here's the deal, everybody. We were going to talk about LeBron James here, but that was before I knew Clayton, North Carolina, Little League Softball World Series. They have punched their ticket. We celebrate youth sports around here. I think youth sports are important. I hope that the Clayton, North Carolina team is not one of those teams that makes you give up your other sports. I hope they're not one of those teams that make you pay $400 bats. I hope they're doing it the right way. Their girls are having a great time. They're making unbelievable memories. And they're going to go win the Little League World Series. That's what I'm hoping. Punch their ticket to the dance. And I did tell the story earlier. I knew some guys that won the Little League Baseball World Series when we were growing up. You know what else they did? Played football, played basketball. They did it. They were not, and Eva Beach is not an area where they were expecting $400 bats to be paid for by the. You can do it. I forget the pitcher's name. They had a pitcher that looked like a linebacker up there, just furious, staring people down, intimidating as heck. Forget his name. But anyway, Clayton, North Carolina, we're all behind you. Win one for the home team. Right now, if you're wondering, there's a Mid-Atlantic Region Championship going on between New Jersey and Pennsylvania. It's top of the 6th. They're knotted at 1. I believe the winner will go to the Little League World Series. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3. Patrick Kane, 2 years, $8 million average annual value, back to the place where he became a star. Chicago Blackhawks. Max and I both said earlier today we think it's a little bit of an overpay. Max, with every signing that we see, right, whether it's young defenseman, whether it's an offer sheet, whether it's Jason Robertson on the 1-year deal, any of these guys settling before arbitration, my first thought always goes to, well, what does that do to the market? Does Patrick Kane even impact the market because him going back to Chicago is such a unique situation? It's like, oh, here are his stats. Here's what Chicago's paying him. My agent wants the same. And they're going to look at him and go like, did you win us 3 cups? Because if you didn't win us 3 cups, you don't get that contract.
No, nostalgia is definitely heavily involved in this move. And the market in terms of like who's available is fairly dried up at this point anyway for free agency. This is not one that they're going to look back at next offseason and be like, well, like if you look at, my client here, he had 55 points in 65 games. Like if you look at last offseason, Patrick Kane had very similar numbers when he was going back to Chicago. Like I think everybody sees it as like, all right, like they paid a little bit more than the market price to bring back a franchise legend, bring him to a team that by all accounts is not going to contend. So he has to kind of be okay with that. So let's compensate him for the fact that, another cup is not going to be added to his trophy case at this point. So look, it's an interesting move. I get it from Chicago's perspective. At the same time, like I don't know if it's necessarily what I would do as I'm trying to continue build with this kind of young team, but you get that nostalgia factor. You bring in some established NHL talent to play on that forward core with Connor Bedard, which you've kind of really struggled to do. And you're adding to your team like you've done with Bowen Byram. You're just also continuing to pay a little bit more than others probably would.
He kind of gets to have his cake and eat it too kind of move, because I guess the way I would describe it is when players who are absolute legends for a franchise chase money or chase one more ring or for whatever reason leave a franchise, I always go like, it's not good. Like, matter of fact, maybe the worst example of this, and I was quoted, Freezing Cold Takes grabbed this one for me. When Brady left the Patriots to go to the Bucs, I was on a different show and I went on a rant about how, like, in Tampa, you're not 6-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady. You're just Tom Brady who hasn't won a championship for us yet. And they have no feelings, no nostalgia. They don't have to treat you well on the way out, right? They don't have to make sure you look good as they put you in the retirement home. The team that you won for a bunch of times, they'll hopefully take care of you, right? They won't disparage you. And then he won a championship, and it was like, oh, you know what? He'll be just fine. But Patrick Kane, like, Rangers, what was it, Detroit for a few years. Like, now he gets to go back and gets to age gracefully with the team that, everybody gets to break out the jerseys from like 2012 or whenever it was and rock them. So interesting little move from Patrick Kane. And $8 million a year. Not bad work if you can get it. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. It means more.
SEC Media Days. AKA, like, Clown Convention 2026. There's 2 different kinds of clowns, right? There's the clown that lies to you and tries to act like you're believing them. And then there's the clown that doesn't lie to you, just calls it like they sees it. Pete Golding and Lane Kiffin are 2 clowns of different varieties. Pete Golding's kind of still lying to us. Lane Kiffin, he just says the thing that is ridiculous. Let's hear from Pete Golding, the head coach at Ole Miss, replacing Lane Kiffin, when he was asked about how he would fix tampering in the transfer portal.
How would you fix tampering, or is it something that cannot be fixed in this environment?
All right, let me put it to you this way, okay? Like, it'd be, so obviously you're a reporter, right? Would you quit your job before interviewing for another job or being offered another job? No, nobody would. But we have a portal that you can go in with a do not contact. I'm gonna quit my job where I'm getting paid, and I'm gonna go in saying I need a new job, but nobody can call me to interview. Like, what have we created? So we've created it on top of representation for these players, right? That it's their responsibility to make sure they get paid really well and they also have opportunities. So by design, it's put a lot of people in bad positions. And let's not act like recruiting in college football for the last 100 years is the most moral thing, right, that's ever been existed. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? So I'm really not going to get into my feelings, and I know how I've been educated to answer this question, right? Does that make sense? To where we have a great compliance department, right, and all those type of things. But no, I mean, the model obviously has been broken, and I'm all for everybody being on the same playing field and doing the same things. I get it, but I think that's in any job, right? Like coaches, we're under contract. You don't think other ADs are calling us during the year? Same ones that are about all this stuff are the same ones calling coaches, right, to come to other schools, right, and everything. So it's everywhere. It's in every profession. So I'm not saying I've got all the answers. I'm not saying that at all, right? Does that make sense? So we go within the rules of the program, right, and how the flow, just like when you're on the interstate and people are flying by you, what do you start doing? You're damn right you're going to get hit, right? Does that make sense? In this profession, you're going to get fired, right? So I'm not saying that, but I think there are a lot of people that are doing an unbelievable job, Greg being one, right, to make sure that, all right, everything's catching up. College football is constantly changing, all those type of things. So hopefully we'll all, decide on what's fair for everybody.
Okay, remember I said he's one of those people that lies and then hopes that we all just believe it? He almost made a really good point. right? Do you quit your job before interviewing for the next job? No, right? So he just wants the kids to know the job is out there and they got a next job before they quit their job. Except there's this guy named Luke Farrelly. Luke Farrelly was a linebacker at Cal last year, ACC legend. And he went in the transfer portal. And he interviewed. And he did see all the other jobs that were out there. And you know what he did? He chose Clemson. And he went to Clemson. And he enrolled in classes. So he did interview. He did everything that this coach is saying he wanted guys to be able to do before they pick their next spot. And then guess what happened? He was tampered with by Ole Miss. And Dabo laid it all out there. So it's like, I do this for the kids. No, you don't. You don't. You're lying. And do you know what's the craziest part? If you're on the highway and everyone's speeding, what are you going to do? There's a bunch of people that drive the speed limit. It doesn't make it okay to speed. It makes it more common that you speed, maybe socially acceptable that you speed, but you're still breaking the rules. And if you get pulled over, you can't be like, but everyone was doing it. I've used that excuse. Cops don't like it. I was going with the flow of traffic. Doesn't work. He's been a head coach for like half a year. Calendar.
Kind of sounds like Jack McBrayer.
Jack McBrayer. I don't know who that is.
He played the Page on 30 Rock. You know
kind of like naive, like real.
Well, I'm saying his voice sounds like him.
Okay. I didn't watch 30 Rock. I do know the guy, though. Like, kind of young, youthful energy. And then we have a quote. Do we have the audio here, or should I just read the quote? The Lane Kiffin.
I don't believe we have
that. So Lane Kiffin is the opposite kind of clown at SEC Media Days. He doesn't lie. He just says the ridiculous thing and expects us to go, oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Lane Kiffin was quoted saying that they have to get to the point. We, college football, have to get to a point where we can actually look at teams and say that team that is 9-3 with their schedule is better than that 11-1 team in a different conference. Listen, if you have a tournament that can put 65, 68, or how many are they up to? 76? Like basketball, 76 teams into a single tournament. Yeah, you can do all that. You can do at-large teams. But if you're bringing 12 and it's football and you only play once a week, it's about finding the best team. It's not about finding the best 12. It's about finding the best team. You lose 3 games, you've convinced me you're not the best team. You've been eliminated from being the national champion best team because you've lost 3 times. Sorry. I don't care what conference you're in. You lose 3 times, you shouldn't be there. Unless there's less than 12 teams that have lost twice. Then we expand. I hate the SEC. Do you know what I love even more about the SEC? Is even when you take the person out of the SEC, you can't take the SEC out of the person. Nick Saban's now sitting there saying the Big Ten is the stronger conference. And he's going like, I think the SEC is just given, they're put on this pedestal because we dominated for so long. He's doing the SEC thing to the SEC. They just don't have it like we had it. They don't understand. It just meant more when I was coaching. That's what the SEC does to everybody else. I love it. Keep doing it, Saban. That was number 2. Let's get to number 1. Bruh. Yeah, we were supposed to be talking. This was supposed to be uplifting. This was supposed to be filled with joy and optimism. First day of training camp. First practice of training camp for the Carolina Panthers was today. It's supposed to be all about every team has all of their dreams in front of them. And I guess technically they still do. But the Carolina Panthers have already, for this season, lost one of their younger, better players to injury. Earlier today, they had practice in the morning. Nic Scourton, second-year player, second-round pick from not this draft, this most recent offseason, but last year he's played one season, had 5 sacks during one of the first team periods of the entire season. Went down with an injury. Carted off. Team immediately melancholy. Hugs. Guys sticking by his side. Guys looking somber. Has an MRI this afternoon. Ian Rappaport reports torn ACL, done for the year. Right knee. Brutal.
Sucks.
Awful. And listen, scheme of things, he'll be all right. Right? Like, I don't want to act like, this is like, somebody like a wartime, anything like that. He is exceptionally young, exceptionally athletic, which statistically bodes extremely well for a full recovery to his pre-injury athleticism. He's 22 years old, one of the younger players in his draft class. All of that adds up to he'll be all right. This was just his second year of a 4-year rookie contract, so he'll miss this entire season, but the injury happened so early this year that he will have more than enough time to be ready for week 1 next year, and he'll have 2 years to prove he's worthy of a second contract and everything else. So big scheme picture, okay. But for this year for the Carolina Panthers, it's a brutal loss early on. And now you have to start doing the game that nobody wants to play, which is, well, what edge rushers are still out there? What edge rushers has every single team filled their entire training camp roster and not had on their roster that are out there still looking for somewhere to play? Can they be as impactful as ESPN's predicted breakout player for our team this year? Because that's what we need to replace. And we haven't even gotten to day 2. And what it does is right, the entire defense is connected. It makes everyone's job more difficult, right? Jalen Phillips now has to be even more dynamic as an edge rusher and attract even more attention, because I don't even know if people realize this about Jalen Phillips. One of the reasons why Jalen Phillips has been very high on disruption ratings, quarterback hurries, quarterback hits, quarterback knockdowns, pressure applied, all of those statistics, without being fantastic in sack numbers, is because one of the things he does exceptionally well, he's just a big brute dude, is he collapses the pocket, right? So what he does is he gets quarterbacks off their spot, uncomfortable, running, happy feet, and that lets his teammates finish the job, right? So he might be responsible for sacks that aren't necessarily attributed to him as a statistic. Nic Scourton was going to get the first chance to be the guy to make good on all of those collapsed pockets. Now, Pat Jones may be coming off an injury, Princely Umanmielen, who at the very least is 1 round worse, right? They were in the same draft. Nic Scourton was a 2nd-round pick. Princely Umanmielen was a 3rd-round pick, and is a little bit lighter, probably more of a specialist on certain downs. It makes the entire defense different. Now you need Derek Brown to pass rush more. You need him to get after the quarterback more, which is the only thing that he doesn't do at a super-duper elite level for a defensive tackle. Right? He does everything well except you'd like to have him get to the quarterback more. Now you're looking at him and saying, hey, the only thing you haven't proven to be super elite at, I need you to be really good at that too. Which maybe he can do it, but that's unfair. I need you to be the best run-stuffing defensive tackle in the league. I need you to continue to eat up double teams. I need you to be a leader. I need you to play 95% of the snaps. I need you to stay healthy. And now, I need you to also get like 8 or 9 sacks because Nic Scourton's not going to be out there to gobble them up for you. On day 1. On day 1. Most teams haven't even put cleats on turf yet. Most teams haven't even gone out there for a practice. They haven't gone through stretching lines yet. Panthers are already down for the season. A starter at a key position, a premium position. You wonder how they would have maybe attacked this offseason if they knew. Bet you that 2nd-round pick would have been an edge rusher. Heck, that 1st-round pick might have been an edge rusher. then they'd be out of luck in a different way with their tackle situation because the first-round pick was an offensive tackle, and he's probably starting week 1 too due to an unforeseen physical ailment from Taylor Moton. Gosh, the hits keep coming. Why can't the Panthers have nice things? If I were a superstitious person, I'd be saying, be worried. Bad news comes in threes. Taylor Moton, non-football injury, non-football illness, blood clots, Nic Scourton, ACL. I don't want to know what's coming next. But again, I'm not superstitious, so I don't believe in that sort of thing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That starting five is brought to you by Baker Home Exteriors. We do good work at a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but always good work. That's the Baker name, Baker Home Exteriors. We also need numbers game contestants. The glory that goes to winning the numbers game can be yours, as well as tickets to see, a pair of tickets, to see Skillet at Piedmont Hall in Greensboro on July 31st. All you have to do is call in now, 919-860-5326. That's the number to call. We need 2 contestants, 919-860-5326. For your chance to compete in the numbers game, call that number now. And if you call in, you got to sit on, you're just waiting for a little bit, it's ringing, stay on the line, 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
He, Rich Paul, and whoever is in the small circle of people in the know knew that they were going to have to weather this. Everyone being annoyed at the delay in the indecision. It's almost as if he's enjoying this because he knows we're all chomping at the bit for this information, and he knows that there's an internal countdown in his head being like, okay, just wait, it's going to happen here.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
A lot has changed since 1915. The way the Baker family treats people hasn't. They've roofed the Carolinas for over 100 years. The motto puts it plainly: we shall do good work, at a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but always good work. Trust the team that's kept that promise for generations. Baker Home Exteriors. Always good work. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Head to Refuel for great deals on all your favorite Pepsi products. Stock up on Pepsi at Refuel today.
Stitches, itches, aches, and pains. Strep and sinus, minor sprains. Pink eye, earaches, fever, flu. Virtual visits, physicals too. At WakeMed MyCare 365, we offer both walk-in primary care and urgent care. So find the MyCare location nearest you at wakemed.org. Walk right in, and for just about anything from asthma, rashes, and examinations to x-rays, labs, and vaccinations, make MyCare your care.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Looks like we're having some kind of a line issue. So maybe this one isn't just bad luck on Max. Maybe it is. Who knows? But looks like we're having some line issues for the numbers game. So unfortunately, nobody's going to win the Skillet Piedmont Hall and Greensboro tickets. But this can be a quick discussion here. I promised this. Actually, I don't want to say I promised it because I don't go back on promises. Once I make a pledge, I'm there. I talked about it, maybe a little numbers game being like a Tim verse, where for a week we go, you can call in and challenge me if you'd like, if you're the first caller. I don't know if we've run up the flagpole. Max, remind me of that tomorrow to talk to some people about it, because I do want to try to play. I get very like FOMO, a lot of fear of missing out on the numbers game.
I think I won like 3 or 4 times before I started working here.
Really? I didn't know that. You were just Max from where?
Raleigh.
Max from
I never
Raleigh.
went 5 for 5 though, so.
What, were you always picking Canes?
Always.
I feel like
I
actually don't think I would do well at Canes.
Well, the ones that Paul puts in there now are like, he puts some guys that I've never even heard of in there now, and it's like I never would have had a chance. But I was usually getting at least 4 at the maybe 3 if it was a real tough one. But
I was always like a casual hockey fan. I didn't realize how much. Well, obviously, hockey moves really, really quick, and with how much shift change they have, you really get to know players by like their body language than their number. It's not like football where you're looking for numbers to identify who they are. You've really just like, oh, that guy's moving fast and he's kind of hunched over. Like, I know who that is, right? Rather than, oh, what number is that? Oh, that guy's hanging out on the left wing. Okay, I know who that is. It's you're really not looking at numbers. It's like basketball is the same way. You don't look at numbers. You just kind of know, but they don't have helmets on, so you just know faces. Baseball is tough. I think the only one I'd be good at is football, for being real. And I watch as much sports as anybody. I think I'd be really good at football. I think I'd be really bad at baseball. Pretty bad at hockey. Mediocre bad at basketball.
Part of me almost kind of wishes there was. I mean, and nobody would ever pick it. I doubt in our market. But if it was just like regular NHL of just like current players,
I think people would be really bad at it. I think even people that watch a lot of hockey would be bad at it.
We're running out of Canes players, honestly.
We can start running them back. I mean, it's
but
not
some
like,
of the ones that he's putting, I'm gonna go check right now. I actually kind of want to see which ones. I'm not gonna say it because we'll eventually.
There
use
was one
them,
guy
but
we did that played 6 games. 6 games, and it wasn't like
that's crazy.
It wasn't like somebody, but they were a bigger.
I feel like Jack LaFontaine was on one once, and he played like the 3rd period of one game.
There was it was a bigger name that played 6 games, so they were known elsewhere. So it's like one of those kind of funny ones.
I wonder if Tim's used James Wisniewski yet. He only played like 30 seconds for the Hurricanes, and he got injured, and his career was over.
I don't recall James Wisniewski.
I think that number was 21 too. Get that right.
I know we've used Yaniv Peretz, who played, I think it was 13 minutes on ice. He was a goalie, but that's because we talked about him on air a lot. So he's like a legend of the show. Either way, we'll get back to the numbers game tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have things figured out by then. In the meantime, I did some digging on who the Carolina Panthers might run to for edge support in the free agency world with the Nic Scourton injury, and I can tell you this: it ain't pretty. Unless you're gonna shell out some cash for, I think like Joey Bosa is still available. Unless you're gonna shell out some cash, you're looking in some places you don't want to be looking. Some retreads. Itor Gross-Matos, guy that Carolina Panthers fans know pretty well, although he's built up some value during his time with the Niners. Jadeveon Clowney's still available. Marcus Davenport's a name you might know. Kyle Van Noy's a name you might know. Von Miller is a name you might know. But I'm not sure you want those super veteran guys to come in here and be a stopgap.
Is Von Miller still playing?
Well, he's available, so not at this very moment, but I believe he was on Washington last year. And actually on, he has a player-run podcast like everybody does. He said he had to choose between Washington and Seattle last year, and he chose Washington because they thought they had a better chance at winning the Super Bowl. Ha! But Victor Dimukeji
still had 9 sacks last year.
No, he's a specialist, but he can still get after it. Not as good as he once was, but as good once as he ever was. Cleveland Ferrell, Clemson in the house. Anybody? There's not a lot out there. Not a lot out there, especially for somebody who pairs the upward promise of a Nic Scourton, right? Nic Scourton wasn't just a guy that got 5 sacks last year. He was a guy that got 5 sacks last year at 21 years old. That was, a lottery ticket of ceiling. It could go as high as you want him to go, and was going to be in a much better situation this year. Last year, the young guys didn't even get played that much early on, right? It takes so long to earn the trust of Ejiro Evero, so replacing that's just going to be really, really difficult. Honestly, the best example of somebody that might replace Nic Scourton in all those facets might be Princely Monmielen, who is already on the roster.
Yeah, no, I think that's gonna have to be who they end up turning to, and he's gonna get some more reps this year than maybe originally planned. But I like his approach to the game and like his attitude. He's a very confident player, and has a lot of self-belief, and hopefully he'll make the most of like an elevated role now, because he's gonna have to. It's kind of a similar thing to Monroe Freeling, where you're kind of being thrust into this position now because somebody went down, and you've got to try to make the most of that opportunity and show that, maybe you don't want to get that spot back whenever they come back.
I've said this a few times, and I actually said it about corners earlier today, but edge rushers are similar. Like, you need to be arrogant. And I go back every time I talk about Princely Monmielen to the call when they were calling him to say that they drafted him. He's a 3rd-round pick. That's a day 2 pick, right? Most guys jumping for joy. The first thing he said was, "What took you so long? I'm going to make you pay up in 4 years." Like, he was already that kind of place. So if he can back that up, that'd be a really good spot for him, if he can back it up. But I will say this, he's lighter. Nic Scourton brought more in the run game, so you're probably going to have to, like, it's Moneyball, right? You're not replacing Nic Scourton with one guy. You're going to have to replace him in the aggregate. Maybe it's on rundowns, more Pat Jones. On pass downs, more Princely Monmielen, assuming everybody stays healthy. Maybe there's a player out there who's blocking tight end style edge rusher, like a run-stuffing edge rusher that you can bring in off free agency. Those usually don't cost as much because they don't have the flashy stats. You can play them earlier on downs, and then Princely Monmielen can be the guy that comes in and pins his ear back. I don't know. There's no easy answers. You lose one of your top returning, exciting young players on the first day of training camp, like the Panthers lost Nic Scourton. If you're into this sort of thing, you probably pour yourself a stiff drink tonight, maybe pour one out for his season. You wake up the next day and you start back at square one, because that's really all you can do. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Whether you're looking for a new house, whether you want the refi because you locked in your rate at the top of the market, or any of the other many, many reasons that you might be in the interest, but that you might be paying attention to the interest rates. There you go. Miller Lending should be the first number you call, because, first of all, they're a mortgage lender, right? They can go out and find you the best rate available, but also they offer something called a no-cost loan, which keeps that immediate cash in your pocket, right? If you're buying a new house, right? I've done this a few times. There's usually a list of things you want to do to make the house your own. And some of them cost money, right? You want to do the countertops. You want to redo that downstairs bathroom. You want to put in a skylight. I don't know. Whatever you want to do to make the house your own, and those cost money. And sometimes closing costs makes it so you got to wait a little bit before you can make the house your own. Keep those closing costs in your pocket. Get a no-cost loan from Miller Lending. If you have the high monthly rate, get the low monthly rate based on where rates are right now, and get all of your questions answered. That's probably the first thing to do. Call up Miller Lending. Ask all the questions you have. Here's the number, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, The Athletic ranked every quarterback in FBS. Where'd the local guys finish? Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
Soccer put its best foot forward this summer and tried everything it could to not put its foot in its mouth. Stellar play from the world's top stars in Messi and Mbappe, and a cult social media hero in the chiseled Viking Erling Haaland. It's a shame this will all be forgotten for another 4 years. Maybe we could get Shakira and the Muppets to do a yearly halftime show.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. Get a free oil filter and more during the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone, now through July 27th. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
This hour of The Drive is brought to you by All-Star Dog Training. You've seen their dogs featured in college and professional sports. They can train your dog, too. Visit allstardogtraining.com and schedule your free evaluation today.
Oh, Michael McDonald coming out of break. Do you think you'll be able to keep this going just forever and ever as long as you're producing the show?
Why not?
Anytime you jump on?
Why not?
I don't know. You might want to jump to like Bee Gees records or something. Is there anyone from that era that rivals Michael McDonald to you?
I like Billy Joel a lot. Phil Collins. Both quite good.
Yeah, those are a little bit more like
mainstream.
Yeah, they've crossed over generations. Like if you're a Michael McDonald fan, I assume you're of a certain age. I think there are a lot of young people that are like, Billy Joel's my guy. Who doesn't like the air drum solo from Phil Collins? Also, Tarzan the movie, right? There's a lot of Phil Collins going around. Michael McDonald is special. I don't know why that one's so much more funny to me that you're a big Michael McDonald fan. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I teased it before the break. The Athletic took on the daunting task of ranking every single projected starter in Football Bowl Subdivision, FBS football, from number 1 to number 138. Now, keep in mind there are 68 Power Conference teams, but there are 138 FBS teams. So that's kind of where you're measuring, right? It doesn't work out this way. But you would think the top 68 would be like the Power Conference level quarterbacks and beyond. I'll give you the guys with local ties first. Number 4 is Darian Mensah, the quarterback from Duke last year. Number 4. I actually think you could argue he should be ahead of one or two of the guys above him. Trinidad Chambliss is number 1 from Ole Miss. I expect that one to come crashing down a bit with Lane Kiffin not calling up the plays. But Darian Mensah, number 4. So that's like when you hear, Duke won the ACC championship last year. Why are they being slept on this year? Well, it's because they won the ACC championship last year, not only with Chandler Rivers and Brian Parker and Wesley Williams and Vincent Anthony Jr. and all these guys that are in the NFL, but also with the number 4 best quarterback in the country, according to The Athletic. And he's not playing with them anymore. And one of the best wide receivers in the country is not playing with them anymore. Just a lot of talent lost. I think this is going to end up being a little low, but in Tier 3, 17th overall in the country, they have C.J. Bailey, NC State. There are definitely some players above that I think he has every right to be upset that they are above him. I'll start with the guy right above him. John Mateer, the quarterback at Oklahoma. He was exposed at times at Oklahoma. He had some good early moments, injuries, but just was not the guy that he was promised to be when he was at Washington State. You get to like Josh Hoover. I know he looked really good against Carolina for TCU. Just because he's going to Indiana and is going to be around Curt Cignetti, you don't assume that he gets to just be a top 12 quarterback in the country. CJ Bailey, tier 3. If you want to say not tier 1 because he isn't proven enough, fine. But then I do think you have to remove like Drew Mestemaker at Oklahoma State out of tier 1, considering all he did last year, which was impressive, was at North Texas. There's a bunch. So anyway, CJ Bailey, tier 3, 17th overall. Then you got to go all the way down to tier 4, all the way down to number 48 overall to find Gio Lopez of Wake Forest, formerly of Carolina, which, I mean, Carolina fans have to be going like, we watched that offense. We watched that offense. Gio Lopez was a big part of that offense. It was hard to watch. We moved on from Gio Lopez, and now you're telling me that he is ranked higher than whoever we brought in to be the quarterback? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And sometimes situation matters, I guess. It's kind of the opposite of what I just said about Hoover going to Indiana. Lopez is reuniting with his offensive coordinator from South Alabama, Rob Ezel. The South Alabama offense was brought to Wake Forest. Gio Lopez, after a hiatus here with Carolina, reunites with his OC. I would expect that to be a good partnership. 48 is not promising the world. Right? Again, there are 68 power conference teams. 48 is not promising the world. If you keep scrolling down, Walker Eget, Duke, number 56, tier 4. So that's what Duke's trying to overcome. That's why Nate Shepard and that running game are going to be so darn important. They went from a quarterback that the Athletic ranked as the 4th best to a quarterback that the Athletic ranked as the 56th best. And it might not even be him, by the way. These are projected starters. There were a few times I referenced Walker Eget at ACC Media Day, at ACC Kickoff. I referenced him as like the expected starter. And the players for Duke that I was talking to were like, well, Dan Mahan's in there as well. He's in the mix as well. He would be the returning player trying to win that starting job at the quarterback position. So Walker Eget 56, I don't know where Dan Mahan would even be on this. Now you can keep scrolling. You get into tier 5. You get into tier 6. Billy Edwards Jr., Carolina, number 68. Now again, it doesn't work out this way because there are teams that have group of 5 teams that have quarterbacks that are higher, including Marshall, including ECU, Emory Williams, tier 6, number 66, a couple spots ahead of Carolina, including Delaware, who has their quarterback, Nick Minicucci, up in the 40s. Talking tier 4 stuff here. But 68 is a tough one for Carolina. 68 is a tough one for Carolina. And it goes into everything that I've talked about, which is I'm not sure Carolina is seeing the way, or maybe they think they're smarter than everybody else in college football. They brought in 2 transfer quarterbacks, kind of note. They brought in Billy Edwards Jr., they brought in Miles O'Neill. You don't see many teams doing that. And if they do, it's like they bring in their quarterback, and then a few months later they bring in a quarterback who's obviously a backup, who's obviously just there to be along for the ride and maybe for the future. Like, they brought in 2 guys and a freshman that I think all kind of expect to play. And I'm not saying like competition is bad, but what I'm saying is you got to think like you're trading cards or something, right? You have 2 cards worth $500. Maybe it's better to trade them for 1 card worth $1,000. Right? At a position that's so important. And there's no more important position in sports than quarterback to a football team, which is hilarious because a bunch of sports you play offense and defense. And football you don't, unless you're very rare people. But quarterback is still so important that you do need to have that dude. You do need to have that guy, that top of the line, top shelf, spare no expense guy. It's why I think more and more we're seeing teams kind of go, all right, let's take our NIL budget, let's split it down the middle. 50% is going to go to our starting quarterback. 50% is going to go to everybody else. And I know it's not literally that, but sometimes it feels that way. You can't, and it's probably darned if you do, darned if you don't. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket for a quarterback and they do get hurt, you're up a creek without a paddle, if you know what I'm saying. But I think the way you do it is you bring in a upside freshman, low 4-star, high 3-star freshman, and you say, hey, listen, we're going to bring in our starter. They're going to be a transfer. If you develop the way we hope you are, you'll be the starter after him, and you develop them as the backup, and then you have your starter who you're paying, $7 million, and you go from there. Carolina didn't do that. And now they have the 68th quarterback, according to The Athletic, and these rankings aren't by any means set in stone. It's not like, that is exactly what he is, but 68 is still not fantastic. And they're going to have to go make up some things elsewhere on the roster, right? So now if you're starting at a deficit at that position, you need to be even better on defense. You need to be even better with the offensive line. You need to make that incubator even better for the quarterback. Meanwhile, if you're NC State, the reverse is true, right? You probably need C.J. Bailey, who I think is underranked at 17th in the country, to be so good that he can overcome things elsewhere on your roster. And I just think it's easier to find the guy, especially in the transfer world, where you can just go look at who else has been developed and pick your favorite. If you have enough money and you're willing to commit enough of your NIL budget to that person, you can just go pick someone that was already good elsewhere and bring them in. Heck, in some cases, you bring their coach with them. Since I know you're all wondering nationally what the top is, I'll give you the Tier 1. They have 8 guys in Tier 1. Trinidad Chambliss, who I mentioned at Ole Miss. Dante Moore, number 2, Oregon. C.J. Carr, number 3, Notre Dame. Mensah, who we discussed at number 4. Julian Sayin from Ohio State, number 5. Drew Mestemaker, Oklahoma State, formerly North Texas, number 6. Oh, everybody's favorite, Arch Manning, number 7. And Sam Leavitt from LSU, previously not LSU. Why am I blanking on where he was?
Who was it?
Sam Leavitt. Arizona State? I think it was Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Arizona State, number 8. And that's Tier 1. And by the way, Sam Leavitt benefited a lot from the receivers that he had at Arizona State. We'll see. And by LSU always has receivers. I don't know why I'm acting like he's going to the doldrums there. Quarterback's so important. Now you know where they stand. Darian Mensah, number 4 in the country. C.J. Bailey, 17. Gio Lopez, 48. Walker Eaget, 56. And Billy Edwards Jr., number 68. That's the way the cookie crumbles. If you want, by the way, any insight into the ACC teams, especially the teams from the state of North Carolina, head to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, where we have all of our interviews from ACC kickoff last week. We talked with Darian Mensah, one of our first interviews, but we talked with the coaches and teammates of all the guys from Duke, Carolina State, Wake, the whole deal, and a few others, smatterings from around the ACC as well. All of those are up on our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Be sure to subscribe while you are there. Also, I said I was going to keep reminding you of it just to let you know it wasn't a nightmare. For those of you just tuning in, Carolina Panthers, Nic Scourton, 2nd-round pick, was a rookie last year, 5 sacks, the breakout player. ESPN picked one breakout player for every NFL team. They picked Nic Scourton for this year for the Panthers. They had their first practice of the year this year. He tore his ACL. I mean, you can't, you almost want to, you feel like you're a Jets fan or something when this is happening. Just there's no way. You finally got excited. They made the playoffs. You had young players getting better. Well, now you have a young player who can be better after a year of body development, year of rehab, year in the weight room. Sometimes you learn more from watching. Sometimes you can learn more from helping everybody else out, being a resource in the room. I'm trying to spin this as optimism for you. I've been pretty down on it all day. I think it's going to be a really, really big and difficult thing for the Panthers to overcome this year. And maybe by tomorrow I'll have some spin zone on it on how, if you look at it from this way, it might be better. But for right now, all I have is this. The defense has to be really, really good. The way they've spent their resources, the defense has to be really, really good. They have to make it easy on the offense. And they just lost one of their most likely candidates for individual improvement on the defense. For the season, by the way. ACLs, they're not like, maybe by the playoffs. Nope, they're done for the year. He'll have plenty of time to get ready for week 1 next year, though. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Max the last couple days keeping us up and running. We'll be back to round out the week the right way. That's Friday, tomorrow, 3 o'clock for more of The Drive. Until then, enjoy some Michael McDonald on the way out and enjoy your night.
Excuse me, you think you could spare a square?
Sorry, what?
A square on your smartphone.
Oh, yeah, for the 99.9